Hello everyone and welcome to today's live stream. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. So today we'll fly from Nuremberg to Rotterdam and back on the annual shuttle event between the two airports. Now, this stream has actually been requested by one of my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, so this one goes out to you. You know who you are. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name you over here. I should probably have asked before. Anyway, this is what this stream is about. Also, I do see it as a very good opportunity to test how the PMDG 737-800 is working with software update 10. So, quick word for the software news today. Of course, we have Nuremberg Airport from Captain Sutton. We will be using GSX, and we are using the standard Rotterdam Airport that's in the World Update from Microsoft, which is, by the way, looking fairly decent. I did have a look at the RD preset scenery, but I was quite happy, so I decided that I'm going to go with the standard scenery. Apart from that, as always, flying on VATSIM, what else? And we can see there is already quite a bit of traffic here at Nuremberg, even though the event only starts in half an hour-ish. But nonetheless, we're certainly going to take it, and I am definitely going to have a lot of fun today. Hopefully a little bit less standing and a little bit more flying today. So, well, there we go. Alright, for the flight plan today, I'm going to put it in the comments in the video down below so that you can all have a look at it, and I will probably also include it in the remarks for those of you who are watching this after the actual live stream. Let's have a quick look over the plan while we can then. Or at least, I should say, let's have a quick look over the flight plan while things actually work. Because I did set up my streaming software completely new, so things might be looking a little bit different now than they used to previously. But after all, we're gonna get there. And I think this is actually alright, isn't it? So, today's flight plan then. We'll start from Nuremberg towards Rotterdam. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet is what it's going to be. And overall, cruise level fairly high for a short 1 hour flight, but Simri forecasts 18 minutes in the cruise, so that is sufficient to justify such a climb. And yes guys, I should have changed my registration in the Simri flight plan. You are right on that. I know somebody's gonna find out about it, right? Then, having a look into the remarks. Nuremberg today, some showers in the vicinity, 17 degrees, few towering cumuluses, and from midnight onwards we're going to get low-vis procedures, but that's all long after we have already returned, so that's not going to be all too much of an issue. Then looking at Rotterdam, weather over there is pretty good. Tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock we're going to get some fog, but that shall not be a problem for us today. Alright, so overall I would say the weather is looking pretty good, so there is nothing to complain about there. Nonetheless, Rotterdam does not have too many stands, so it might happen that they actually run full on the apron, and due to that I'll just take some 15 minutes of extra fuel to enable a little bit of holding. So 15 minutes... make that round about 600 kilograms-ish, so we'll take a block fuel of 5.9 tons, and that should be sufficient for our flight. Right, let's step into the flight deck then, and actually fire our airplane up. Well, it's been a while since I've actually done a complete flight in the PMDG 737. By the way, I know some of you are going to ask about it, so I'll just ask right before we start the first flight. Do you want me to set the time back from the real time so that we are going to do both flights in daylight conditions? Or do you want me to do them in real time as it is right now? So most likely we'll Most likely we would get darkness then within like the first sector already. But okay, the answers are clear. Everyone's saying real time, so let's ensure that. Real time. Right, quick look into the options over here then. Let's say the plane arrived at 2.5 tons and the zero fuel weight today is going to be 57.5. But let's get some real-time refueling, shall we? I am, by the way, going to use the PMDG options for the real-time refueling, not the GSX, because, well, you guys know my opinion on GSX, so it's going to be nice for the pushback and the marshalling, and that's about it. So let's see, the stairs should be gone any moment, then we can request our jetway. In the meantime, let's start doing our safety inspection. So, we have the airplane powered up. Oops. That was bad timing. Alright, that is what I wanted to do. By the way, guys, some of you have wondered how I did my partial landing gear up video. If you have a look at the ultimate gear extension door down here, if that is opened, you cannot lower your landing gear. Or it is not going to respond to gear lever movement at all. So that's how I tricked into that failure, because by default, as some of you correctly noted, the plane would not simulate such a failure at all. So I did a little bit of tricking there, but I figured that it would be quite okay. Right, gotta wait those dreaded 4 minutes for the stick shake-up. In the real one, even though if it's not reached the 4 minutes yet, if you just press the button, then it will just move the stick shaker for like a single click or something. That's basically all I need. I don't mind if it's not actually moving there, but that is time. And Metal Eye, yeah, they bring Afgas, exactly. Andrew, I'm using DirectX 11, that's correct. Because still can't be bothered with DirectX 12, that is a little bit, I don't know. Okay, then Flatterer, that sounds interesting. You've added the new ground handling variables to the flight model CFG, and the behavior during takeoff and landing is much more realistic. I really hope PMDG adds these natively. Could you contact the PMDG support with that? Because if there is anything there that can be improved, then for sure give them a call, and they're going to look into it. Alright, so let's start with the setup. We're in an 800, the IRAC is current, 26k rating is correct. We are in Nuremberg. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, would have been better to fly it the other way around, no? So, Rotterdam, Nuremberg, Rotterdam, instead of Nuremberg, Rotterdam, Nuremberg, seeing that I'm flying a Transavia plane. But anyway, so Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Departure runway, I think it was 10 in the forecast, and then the Zulu's 3 Mike departure, and for the arrival they had runway 06 there when I checked last, and we had the Reckon 3 Romeo arrival. Quick cheat here on the legs page on the second CDU, which waypoint it goes to, and it's DOFMU, so we'll take the DOFMU transition. Then, let's see what they came up with in the operational flight plan. Even though I have a feeling I don't even want to know, because it might be quite a bit worse than what I would be hoping for. Anyway, let's be in for the surprise which kind of performance data they got. So we've got a cost index 18. Oh, that's not too bad. I thought it would be worse. So, cost index 18, reserves 2.1, 0 fuel weight 57.5, and cruise level 380. FMC optimum is, yeah, around about 400, that doesn't matter. Then we've got 249 at 19. Temperature deviation, it's 4 degrees warmer, so minus 52. And finally the transition altitude, as in all of Germany, 5001. Right, temperature, we'll just take it right from what we have in here, 16 degrees. And we'll see about the engine out when we get there. Descent we can prepare as well. So, 276 at 9. Then we have 357 at 7. And finally, 338 at 6. With a QNH of 1014. Alright, let's go do a quick setup of the airplane. How's the refueling? Oh, it hasn't even started. Okay. Good that I looked at it. And good that I keep pressing incorrect buttons. This is what I wanted to press. Okay, start the refueling. The seatbelts are gonna remain off, and I'll just put the lights on already. What's the temperature doing there in the cabin? That's alright, no need for air conditioning. And Steve, nice to see you in the comments here. Always nice to fly your repaints. And yeah, I have heard that somebody did a very good job in the cabin there. Gonna have a look at it in a moment, promise. In the meantime, let me quickly set up the airplane so that we can go with the start of the event. Otherwise, I don't know, I have that strange feeling that we're gonna end up the same way like yesterday on the Frankfurt stream, where I hoped to do 3 sectors, and in the end I ended up doing a single sector where the taxi time was twice as long as the actual flight time. And I'm definitely not interested in repeating that today. Even though Metal IO support is still highly appreciated, of course. Okay, this is pretty much all the setup we can do for now. So, now comes the big question. Do I want to risk using the Navigraph charts in-sim panel again, which did lead to crash to desktops in the past? Well, then the honest answer to that is no. I'd much rather have it running externally in Chrome and risk a little bit less usability on your side than the simulator crashing on my side. Sorry guys, I know, I'm an absolute ego. Flatterer, I'm afraid at the moment there is no option for the other tab probe coming. I'm pushing for it myself, but at the moment at least I don't see it happen. Metal Eye, you're the absolute greatest. Thank you so much for that donation once again. You are the best. Steve, I'm gonna check that TUI out. And Boudwin, the cabin lighting is handled by the cabin crew, so that is nothing us pilots have anything to do with. But the general procedure that we keep seeing, or that I keep seeing, is that the cabin lighting is normally turned off after the safety demo is finished, and is turned back on again basically once we are in the air and the cabin crew has been released from their seats. Right, so let's get a little bit of enough setup done here. And 096. By the way, I just noticed I'm doing all this lovely setup here based on the SimBrief runway. However, I did not actually verify the winds, which are variable 1 knots. And knowing that they are most likely going to actually use runway 28. So in that case, let's just put the Zulu's 3 kilo departure in. So let's actually do this. So then we'll go straight ahead, 277. Now comes all the redialing here. So we have 277, so 2.9, right turn 359, and then 339. Outbound from Nuremberg, 1575. So let's actually do this. Yeah, I guess that's the most likely option, runway 28. Alright. Then, reef automation. How do I get along with GSX? To be honest, not very well. At the moment I'm using it for pushback and marshalling only, and that's it. Okay, so... Can we connect the jetway? Yes, we can. Very good. Okay, so are you ready for the departure briefing? Threats for the departure. It's going to be fairly busy, so yeah, we'll just take it slow, make sure that the air traffic controllers aren't overloaded, and if there is any doubt we have about any of the clearances we're getting, then we'll just take it slow, verify that everything is correct, and if we have to, we are just going to stop the airplane for as long as we're on the ground. If we're in the air, just follow the last clearance until we are absolutely sure that the new clearance is understood. And I think that's pretty much all that we can do about this particular problem. So, then I would like to have a route check, please. And we're going from Echo Delta to November to Echo Hotel Romeo Delta, Tango Romeo Alpha 5 Kilo Juliet. And that's the same we have in our flight plan. I just removed that one from view, by the way, so that it doesn't block you all the time. Routing is via the Zulu's departure, Lima 604 Velby, Lima 602 Recken, and then a Recken arrival. And that gives us a ground distance of 371 versus 362. 3.5 remaining, 2.1 required, so we have plenty of extra fuel available. Our UTC time is 16:51, altimeter 1012, reading 1030. Flight directors are on, minus master, and the standby instruments are set. It is going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 28, flap 5, noise abatement departure procedure number 2 with a buck up at 1500. EOSIT is going to be straight ahead, 25 miles, climbing 5,000 feet. That's going to keep us safe. For the emergencies, above 80 knots, I will only reject for fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind chill warning, aircraft unable or unsafe to fly. If I call stop, I will simultaneously close the thrust lever and disengage the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking, verify operation of the RT auto brakes. I manually raise the speed brake lever, apply maximum reverse thrust, and when the aircraft comes to stop, I'll set the parking brake. Okay, so if you call stop, I will note the brakes on speed, call speed brakes up or speed brakes not up, and thrust reverse normal indications. I'll call 100 knots, 80 knots, 6 knots, and the runway distance remaining. Verify actions, call any emissions. I call auto brake disarm, and select flap 40 when the parking brake has been set, and advise ATC of the reject. We then identify the failure and carry out angels as appropriate. If we decide to evacuate, we do the evacuation checklist. Time permitting, we'll pull the CVRCB, and you'll grab the lid, we get out of here. Finally, if the call before we want to keep going, there will be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings and raise the landing gear with a positive rate. 400 feet, verify heading, select and carry out the memory items. At the MFRA, we'll buck up and retract the flaps on schedule. Flaps up no light, select level change, MCT, engage the automatics, non-normal checklist, normal checklist, and then we'll decide on the further course of action. Now let's have a look at our taxi routing. I'm going to bring the chart back up for you guys now. So, parking stands. We are parked on stand number 12, so that's over here. Pushback is going to be with the nose to the right hand side. Then we'll taxi out via Mike 2 and Alpha. And that is going to lead us all the way to runway 28. We'll take intersection Bravo figures, but I don't think we're going to get it today. Our departure then is the Zulus 3 kilo departure. We have that in a non-ANAF version and in an ANAF version. Let's quickly get out both of them. I'll start with the non-ANAF version, and that is on the chart 10-3 Golf, effective 14th September 2018, transition altitude 5000, contact Munich radar immediately after takeoff, 129.525. It's only available for flights intending to proceed Zulus Airway Lima 604, we do that. Speed max to 50 at or below 100, not applicable within airspace Charlie. And parts of IFR profiles within airspace class Echo, watch out for VFR traffic unknown to ATC. That is actually a very good point. So for the class Echo airspace, I'll put 220 knots below flight level 100 into the FMC. So why isn't it taking it? Oh, sorry, I meant to write 100 in here. Yeah, now it's taking it. Very good. Okay, initial climb clearance, flight level 70, that's pre-selected, and the routing is on 277 degrees, 2.9 dB Nuremberg, that is tuned active in both radios. That's a right-hand turn, 359, to intercept radial 339 outbound from Nuremberg VOR until 3060 ME, which is then going to be Zulus. Now let's have a look at the ANAF version. That is on the chart over here. And quickly, 10-3 Quebec, transition 5000. In the FMC we have 5001. Speed to 50 below 100, we've changed it to 220 due to airspace Echo. Initial climb clearance flight level 70 is pre-selected in here and set up here. Routing 277, 5.9 miles, Delta November 282. Then right turn 359, 11.2. Delta November 286, and I have 220 knot restriction in here and flight level 70. And then left 339, 23.7 in Montezulus, and that is exactly what we have, almost. 2 degrees doesn't matter, that's due to differences in magnetic variation in Flight Simulator, so that's nothing for you guys to worry about at all. And that is the departure briefing. Do you have any questions? No, very good. Jan, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. And Flighterer, am I going to try X-Plane 12? Eventually, but no time for it at the moment, sorry. And Metal Eye, see you around. Alright, then finally, let's start getting our checklist complete. So safety inspection checklist and before start checklist down to the line. Before I do that, let me quickly do the light test. I always forget it in Flight Simulator. I don't know why. In real life it's a clear part of the flow, but in Flight Simulator that one is just getting away from me all the time. Okay, so services and trucks checked, maintenance status checked, battery is on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's library checked, IRS mode selectors, nav, gibbons, 1, 2, 3 removed, probe covers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 removed. In real life we usually hang them up here nowadays, since we have to check them so often. Alright, and you guys are riding along in the jump seat, are you? So, let's get that one out. Alright, so, light test checked. Oxygen, just 100%. Yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches, normal and auto. Fuel, 5.2 required, 5.9 on board with 4 pumps on. Cabin utility IFE on. Emergency exit lights on. Fasten belts. Fueling is complete, they're on. Window heats on. Air conditioning and pressurization. Packs auto. Bleeds on. Set. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Instruments. Cross checked. Auto brakes. RTO. Hydraulics. Normal. Speed brake. Down attempt. Parking brake. Set. Step and cutter switches. Normal. Wheel by fire warning. Checked. Radius, radar and transponder. Set and standby. Radar and aileron trims. 3 and 0. Takeoff briefing is discussed. Holding at the PA. Okay, our boarding is complete. Let's go ahead and quickly do our performance predictions then. And Flatterer, yes, PMDG is working on the engine model. Goodwin, you set the course of the approach, not the course of the runway. And Alec, I don't show the lag position on the charts because in real life we don't have that feature either. At least in my airline we don't. I know it exists, but in my airline we don't have it. Alright, then let's go ahead and do some performance predictions here. So we are in Nuremberg on the runway 28. We'll take intersection Bravo figures. It's a dry runway. We'll take 5 knots of tailwind, 16 degrees, 1012. And for the weight, 57.5 it is, 63.5. Yeah, why did it lose the QNH? That's better. Okay, so we have 26k at 32 degrees. That is quite a lot. But okay, that's gonna be fun then, at least. So 98.5, 97.6. Yep. Right, flap 5 takeoff. And we have 25.3 CG, gives me 4.5 units of trim. Which is in now, and the speed's 33, 36, 46, and they are within 1 knot, so we can take the FMC speeds. Alright. MFRA 2046. And finally, engine out procedure. Okay. Climb on 276, enter non-published holder Delta November 432. Okay. We'll have to put that in. So we have Delta November 432. And it's non-published holding 277 inbound, so we'll make it 097. And it is going to be right turns. Okay. Perfect. Then let's fire up the APU and get our IFR clearance. So we only have tower online at the moment, but that's good. If we can get our clearance just before the event starts, that hopefully means that there won't be too many people on there yet. So let's see how that's going to work out. Just waiting a short moment to see if there's anyone talking on the frequency before I say something. But it does not look like it. Okay. Nuremberg Tower, good evening. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. No HOTAS online. Request clearance to Rotterdam.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Nuremberg Tower, good evening. Information Bravo should be available later. Cleared to destination via 3 Kilo departure 5.2 9% descent 041,000. That is approved.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, we seem to have some radio issues. Can you give us a radio check, please? We didn't copy anything.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, EQ5, do you read me?
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, affirm, PQ5 now, and ready to copy clearance, sorry.
So Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, you are cleared to Rotterdam, Zulu 3 Kilo departure, flight by cruise climb at the 0 squawk 1000. Startup is approved and you should have information Bravo, I will check late.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet is cleared to Rotterdam, Zulu 3 Kilo departure, flight by Jude, climb flight level 70, squawk 1000, startup approved, and the ATIS is at least not showing in my pilot client.
Okay, readback is correct, I will check, I will disconnect and connect it again.
Thank you, might be a V-pilot issue as well, I don't know.
Eurowings 582, ready for takeoff.
Okay, so that's perfect then. Flight level 70, we have the Zulu 3 Kilo departure in here and squawk 1000. That sounds good. Okay. So, that's as predicted runway 28 then. Okay, then let's get our GSX ready. Oh, that just came. Why are the overwing exit lights showing? I guess the PMDG issue? Yeah, the PMDG issue. Okay. And power disconnecting, everything is closed. Checks can be removed.
We are ready for pushback.
Let's complete the checklist. PA complete, FMC CDU set, M1 and IS box. We have automatic, reduced 26K, speed 134, 136, 145 set. Start trim 4.5 set. Performance weight and balance, sign and send, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight deck windows and cockpit door. Locked, doors closed, passengers seated. Before start checklist complete.
737, taxiing out of gate 21,
Alice and Maggie, you guys, thank you so much for the donations. That is really, really appreciated. Ben, we all appreciate the immense amount of knowledge you've added to the community in such a small amount of time. Be sure to take care of yourself and not burn out. Thank you so much, Ben. That is really appreciated.
Tower, good evening. Tourist 661.
I'm trying my very best. You've seen that this month the overall amount of videos I've created has gone down a little bit. Now, that has some real-life background as well. That is not for a topic of a live stream at the moment.
Thank you.
But be sure that it is going to go up again as well in the future. So, both of you, Elitist Maggie and Ben, thank you so much for your donations.
Thank you.
And Yulon, what would happen if you take off accidentally with the gear lever off? Well, you shouldn't be able to move it at all on the ground, but if it's off so the system is depressurized, well, the landing gears are still in a mechanical lock, so I think nothing would happen, but I haven't tried it. Anyway, let's go.
Nuremberg Tower, D2 Ristic 661 at 1010 with information Bravo. Request clearance for Rotterdam.
Ristic 661, information Bravo. Startup approved, cleared Rotterdam, Zulu 3 Kilo departure, flight by 2, flight level 70, squawk 1000.
Zulu 3 Kilo departure, runway 28, flight plan route.
Just waiting for the repack to be completed, and then we'll make our way.
6661.
Ristic 661, readback correct, startup is approved.
Thank you.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, stand 1-2, request pushback.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, pushback approved, face.
Pushback approved, face east, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. And just now the window closes. Okay, so continue pushback, face east.
Release parking brakes, please.
Before start checklist below the line. Air compacts off, anti-collision on, parking brake is set, and the transponder out off. Before start checklist complete. Okay, so brake released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start exit.
We are going to do that.
Eurowings 532 approaching runway 2.
Flutter, thank you very much for the very kind words. Really appreciate it.
Eurowings 582, wind variable 1 knot, runway 28, get the takeoff, shift approach.
For takeoff, runway 28, time to service, Eurowings 582.
Okay, let's start engine number 2. In the meantime, if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, I'm just about to attach my Thrustmaster yoke to my desk again, so that makes a little bit of noise then. My apologies for that. Okay, we have N2, all pressure, and N1. Start lever on, observe the lights going bright, then off. By the way, in the past, some of you said that I wouldn't be critical enough on the PMDG. Now, if you want to hear some critics, then the engine start is quite out of phase. But that is something PMDG is working on, so that's why I never really criticized it.
Set parking brakes.
I guess that applies to me a lot, that whenever something is not working, then I usually know why it is the case. And that kinda puts me in a different or difficult position there. Okay, so start engine number 1. In the meantime, GSX can start disconnecting.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
And what we can do as well here is dim our displays down a little bit, because it is going to get dark quite quickly now. N2, all press N1, we have 25% already. No, bad perspective, here we can see it.
Unlocking gear.
Cut out.
661, request.
Monitor 1,
Total
and 1 stable.
Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right clear.
1 stand by. Transavia 5 kilo Juliet, I read text.
In 10 seconds, Transavia 5 kilo Juliet.
Okay, then please report when ready to taxi. Lufthansa 7 Mike Foxtrot.
Okay, before taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, propellant on, NTRs off, air conditioning packs auto, bleeds on, isolation with auto. Flaps are 5 required, 5 selected and 5 green lights, step trim 4.5 units set, start levers idle 10, flight controls checked, recall checked, before taxi checklist complete. Transavia 5 kilo Juliet, request taxi.
Transavia 5 kilo Juliet, taxi 44 runway 28 via Mike 3, Mike 5.
Taxi order point runway 28 via Mike 3, Mike 2 and Alpha, Transavia 5 kilo Juliet. Okay, so straight ahead, Mike 3, Mike 2 is at the end, and then Alpha is the long taxiway in the end, that is briefed. Okay, brake released, config check, let's go.
Nürnberg Tower, guten Abend, Hero Transmit 1228, stand 1, info Bravo on board, requesting a parking.
So that guy over there has just requested his pushback clearance, but the tower paid attention and he asked me if I'm able to start the taxi soon, so that's why he held him over there. You can see the GSX back there. If he's lifting him up, then it's producing this very interesting pitching here for other people on that sim. Welcome to the world of Flight Simulator, guys. Okay, in the meantime, let's start with the departure, with the before takeoff checklist to the line. Config, checked, flaps, 5, green light, step trim, 4.5 units, set. Takeoff briefing, it's going to be a left seat, takeoff on runway 28, flaps 5, noise abate in 2, bucket 1500. And the SIT is going straight out with the right turn at 2.70 meters from Nürnberg, and we contact the departure immediately after takeoff. Engine out, sit straight ahead to the Delta November 42 point, join the holding 277 inbound, and left hand turns. Climb to an altitude of 5,000 feet.
Eurotransport 1228, setup approved, cleared Rotterdam, EBAC.
Any questions?
2 kilo departure, climb 70.
Then we're holding at the cabin.
Eurotransport 128, read back correct.
By the way, today I had an interesting discussion with another flight simmer
Touristic
on the behavior of the tiller in the 737. And basically she said that there should be a little bit more delay when returning the tiller to the center position. Now on the actual 737 you have to carefully position the tiller back to the middle position. So just watch how I'm doing it now. I'm slowly releasing the tiller, and with that the plane is slowly going back to a straight steering. But on the real 737 you have to do the same thing. You can't just let go of it and assume it to return to the middle position. That's not going to happen. And that is going to cause some very ugly noises and some very unhappy passengers. Victor, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Thank you very much. I really hope the flight is going to be great. It's going to be better than yesterday, for sure. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, ready for departure.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, get variable 1 on runway 28, clear for takeoff.
Runway 28, clear for takeoff, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, cheers. That sky looks amazing, doesn't it? Just while I see it while we're rolling here. Anyway, confirm the readback, please. Cleared for takeoff on runway 28. In real life, the captains always say, seat the cabin below the line. Cabin crew, please take your seats for departure. At the same time, 129525, you can pre-select that for our departure frequency. Okay, before takeoff checklist below the line. MCP, we go over everything, including the EFIS control panels here. Set. Transponder, TARA, strobe lights on, landing lights on. Before takeoff checklist complete. The approach is clear, we checked that during taxi. The left is clear as well. And that sky is looking even more amazing here. Wow. That really improved with the Sim Update 10, didn't it? Okay, turning. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1 rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. On F. Let's do a little bit of air flying while we can now.
Information Bravo on board and ILS 28, speedbird 924.
So buck up.
Speedbird 924. After LTS, proceed direct DODAS, cleared DODAS 28 transition. After LTS, direct DODAS, cleared DODAS 28 transition, speedbird 924.
Munich radar, good evening, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, passing 3,500 feet, Solos 3 Kilo departure.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet with radar, good evening, identified, climb flight level 190.
And flight level 190, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Set.
Lufthansa 7 Mike Foxtrot, contact München radar 133.575. Have a good flight, bye bye.
Passing 47, calling 190, after takeoff checklist. Vina, please.
True.
So 2.17 E roundabout, we'll start the right hand turn. Air conditioner pressurization 2.2. Set. Off, off, up, off. Altimeters. And standard. Passing 62, 63 now, current flight level 130. After takeoff check is complete, and we can release the cabin chute. I'll turn the terrain display off, it's kinda annoying. In real life, in my airline, the captain would be using the weather radar anyway, and the FO would be using the terrain display. That is our standard configuration. Okay, I'll delete the 220 restriction over here. Because I've limited it to 220 knot below level 100 anyway, due to the class Echo airspace around. Altimeters, passing 100, climbing 190, 10 checks. Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, lights off, APU off, air conditioner pressurization 3.8, climbing and set, fasten belts, auto, recall, checked, and monitoring 1 to 1.5. And checks complete. It's a little bit sad that the 737 is not yet shared cockpit compatible, because it would be really nice to have a pilot monitoring doing the procedure for you, so that I could actually focus on the hand flying part. Because you can see it's been a little bit sloppy here.
Speedbird 924. Proceed direct data November 4.
By the way, some of you are wondering for how long we are usually hand flying in real life. And on a departure like right now, I would usually be hand flying until the completion of this turn that I'm doing right here. So I usually fly until above the acceleration at flight level 100. And after that, if there is anything interesting to come, so for example, if we have a lower level of, then I usually hand fly that as well for the practice. And if you have a turn like this, I would hand fly it as well. Now when the plane is established on the new track where it's supposed to go. So, like now, that is usually the point where I would engage the autopilot. So, come on day. Checked. That's a new SOP, by the way, that we just introduced about a week ago. When the pilot flying engages the autopilot, he has to call either Command A or Command B, depending on if you're using the left or the right autopilot. And then the pilot monitoring now has to check the CMD indication over here and call checked. The background for that is that there have been a couple of cases in my airline where pilots tried to engage the autopilot, but for whatever reason it would not come on, but then they just let go of the control column and wondered why the airplane wasn't going where it was intended to go.
Avia 5 Kilo Juliet, contact München radar 133, decimal 575, bye bye.
133, decimal 575, that's Avia 5 Kilo Juliet, ciao.
Ciao.
München Radar, guten Abend, KLM Correction, Transavia, 5 Kilo Juliet, passing level 162, climbing 190, and that's Silus.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, radar, good evening, identified, climb flight level 260.
Climb flight level 260, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Set. 260 check. Wiener. Ben, any idea how long I spent yesterday waiting for taxi clearances? Yes, 37 minutes after the landing. 37 minutes is the time we spent waiting for taxi clearances in Frankfurt.
Bye-bye.
Flatterer, can you do a video of when and how to ding the cabin and so on? Yeah, I could cover that in a video, but every airline is doing it a little bit different. But let me summarize it for you in the how we're doing it, and I'll probably do a separate video on it anyway. So basically, the first time we ding the cabin is during taxi, when we reach the cabin part of the before takeoff checklist down to the line. We ding the cabin, and that is the trigger for the purser, who is waiting in the back galley at that point, to go through the cabin and check that the passengers are all seated, the tray tables are up, and the window shades are open. And when he comes to the front, he's going to check in the toilet that no passenger accidentally slipped into the toilet, because yes, passengers apparently still do. I've seen it happen myself. Even during takeoff run, last week I've had one passenger where I was just about to set takeoff thrust when we heard the purser start shouting, "Sit down immediately, don't go to the toilet, we're taking off, sit down immediately." So apparently some passengers just don't give a peep about anything. Anyway, so that's the first ding. And when the purser has completed all his checks and the cabin is secure for takeoff, then he is going to press a certain combination on the flight deck door access panel, and that is going to sound a chime in the flight deck, which then is our indication that the cabin is actually secure. So if during the before takeoff checklist you see me pressing the attendant call button and then say the cabin is secure, then that kinda takes that part out, because that is not simulated in the PMDG. That's the first part. Then after takeoff, when it is safe for the cabin crew to start moving around, we press the attendant call button again and switch off the no smoking sign, which however, the switch is not connected to the actual no smoking signs in the cabin. So that is programmed hard into the computer that those are always on. The switch only, well, it basically has no function in my company. In the PMDG it sounds a chime, that's not the case in my airline. Contact feed is 275, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, ciao. Radar, guten Abend. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, passing level 243, climbing 260 in Mount Cockle.
5 Kilo Juliet, lang hello, radar contact, level 380.
Ground flight level 380, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Set. 380 checked, and we have set once, twice, and 3 times. So on the third time we compare that the cruise out is actually below the optimum out, and we're monitoring 1 to 1.5. Alright, so that's this part completed. Then about dinging the cabin. I think about it. In the descent, we don't ding them. In the descent, 15 minutes prior to landing, we just switched the seatbelt sign on, and that is the indication for them 15 minutes to landing. And then at 10 minutes to landing, we actually make a PA saying cabin crew 10 minutes to landing. And then after landing, yeah, well, the moment we turn off the seatbelt sign and give them the cabin crew all doors and manual command, that is basically the last reason. So those two are the different commands where we would ding the cabin. And then of course in flight, anytime you actually want to talk to them, you would of course also give them a ding. And Flatterer, would I say the drag of the 700 is closer to reality than that of the 800? As we know, the 800 is quite a bit too slippery. Yeah, I would say it goes into the right, I would say the 700 goes into the right direction there, but they're working on it. Then Alessandro, do I still have time to fly general aviation real life? Unfortunately not.
Flight level
Not at all. This summer, in my summer holidays, I tried to actually revalidate my single engine license. I had the time on holidays to actually take the free flight lessons in the flight school. so I had the time to refresh all the knowledge and skills.
Flight level 29.
But then on the day of the exam, the weather was so bad we couldn't fly the exam. And since I did that on holidays, I had to go back home afterwards. So I did all the lessons, but couldn't actually get the rating back into my license. That went really unfortunate. Yep, yeah, forming a German Transavia based in Nuremberg then, huh? Yep, exactly. I mean, we already have Transavia France, do we? Why not Transavia Germany as well? And Crimson Ghost. Definitely no Frankfurt sector tonight. Definitely not. This morning, I did unfortunately not have the time to do a live stream because I had to study for something. This morning, there was an event in Frankfurt from 8 to 12 or something like that. And I actually flew into Frankfurt-Egelsbach with a Honda jet. That was fun. But there wasn't too much traffic, so it wasn't an issue after all.
133-925, Eurowing flight 82,
Okay. Throttle 300, angle of bank 10. And of course, the reverse L check. So, differential pressure, 7.8, cabin altitude 5000, still slightly climbing, automatic selected, all the switches in the positions where they're supposed to be, and the cabin temperature is good as well.
Level 3 skis are we on the 656.
Those reflections really look good here on the flight deck, don't they? Let me flick that light off. Yeah, that looks good. That looks amazing, doesn't it? In terms of the visuals, the SU-10 really makes a difference, in my opinion. Things are looking a lot better. Like, check this out. That's amazing. I gotta take a screenshot of that. You're probably gonna see that screenshot sometime. That looks absolutely amazing. And honestly, the sky even looks so good, I don't even want to close the window shade, because I want to see this. I'm a little bit spoiled right now, guys. Sorry.
133.575, German wing 2256.
This is actually looking quite amazing. Yeah, Matt, I fully agree. Great time to be a flight simmer. There have certainly been worse times. Crimson Ghost. Considering picking up the Honda jet, usually prefer heavier birds. Honestly, for 25 euros you can't do that much wrong. What I might recommend you is just to wait a little bit, because next month another very light jet is going to come out, which is going to be the Citation Mustang. And the Honda jet is a really, really nice airplane. However, it still features the working title G3000, which is a little bit limited in terms of the avionics. However, the Citation Mustang is going to feature the working title G1000 NXI. So that's quite a bit more feature rich. So, at the moment, honestly, I would still fully recommend the Honda jet. It's a very fun aircraft. However, at this moment it might be worth waiting for the Citation Mustang to come out, because I will for sure compare the two and see which one I'm going to like better. Because the Mustang does promise to have a little bit more sophisticated avionics, in that the G1000 is just simulated a little bit to a higher standard at the moment. And Boeing Pilot, am I not flying enough in real life? Well, I'm not gonna tell how many hours I'm doing these days, but many. Too many. However, nonetheless, Flight Simulator is still fun. It's still a good hobby. And if I'm honest, I haven't flown the 737 too much recently in Flight Simulator, just because 737. Boy, I'm sitting in that thing for 12 hours a day. I start reaching the point where I can't see the 737 anymore. But that's gonna get better in winter again. Nonetheless, that's why I'm flying stuff like the Honda Jet, like the Airbus yesterday, and a little bit of GA stuff in the simulator these days, because it just makes for a lot of difference.
Good afternoon, Ryanair 900, Blue Bravo, 380, correction, inbound SMR with you.
Alright, we're just about 50 miles from the top of descent, so it might actually be a good time to look into our arrival and see if we can catch NATIS. Should be 128575 if I'm not mistaken.
Descent state level 100, Lufthansa 1 Whiskey Alpha.
Canadian 168, please proceed direction to Domo.
Okay, 06, the rest I've heard. So, yeah, then we can go ahead and program this. So, let's get out some of those charts then. It's quite a long way around, but I guess, yeah, all the Amsterdam arrivals are going through here. Yeah. Oh well. That is fine enough for me. Then we get to see a little bit of the Netherlands. I have a lot of Dutch colleagues, by the way, at work. Really good guys.
Hier kommt natürlich das 5-6, danke, ciao.
One to go. Monitoring vertical speeds. Or monitoring VNAV, sorry.
Ryanair 163, contact München 133, that's 575. 133, ready, descent, flight level 270,
And the minimum is going to be 195. In other words, the runway threshold is located 5 feet below the surface. Sorry, below the sea level.
Ready, descent, flight level 270, to reach 270 at
Runway descent level 270 on Umutu, Lufthansa 12 Foxtrot.
Thank you, radar, good afternoon. 640,
Right. While we're at it, let's also do some landing calculations. So, Rotterdam, runway 06, 2.5, dry. Wind
Lufthansa 1 Whiskey Alpha, left heading
versus
25.
340 at 7, so let's take that.
6-4, established.
Temperature 151014.
6-4 tower, 129.
So, flight level 380. On set. 150 to 925. Transavia Flight Juliet. Bye bye.
Langen Radar, guten Abend, 1228, continue the arrival to Dortmund.
Can't really tell, I presume obviously with the arrival already request. For the moment, when ready, flight level 260.
Roger, no problem, and starting on the second flight level 260, Euro and flight level 2.
Hey Radar, guten Abend, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, flight level 380 in Mapox. So just while I'm looking at this, it seems to me that the top of descent is a little bit early, isn't it?
Direkt Lebo, Lufthansa, mein Fox.
So runway 06. Let's draw some circles here. And we need a 114 mile ring. Yeah, that is really early. Is there any altitude restriction? Okay, level 70 at Flevo, yeah. That would of course explain it. Is that actually part of the arrival? Yeah, Flevo level 70. Okay. That's a note. If unable to comply, inform ATC. Well, we will be able. Okay. So that's here. But they're giving high speeds on the descents already. You know what? Let's make this a little bit steeper because, well, we're in Watson and we want to fly both sectors, don't we? So let's make it 290 knot profile. That should steepen the descent a bit. Yep. TD going backwards. Okay, so are you ready for the approach briefing? Congrats for the arrival. Rotterdam is an airport that I've not really been to very often, maybe 5 times in my entire Watson career or something like that. Surely not a lot more often. So unfamiliarity with the airport is a bit of a thing here. And of course, it is a fairly simple, straightforward airport, so there is not all that much to worry about. Yeah, if we have a look here, fairly straightforward airport, 1 runway, 1 parallel taxiway and an apron. Main apron over here, hitting the right gates and everything might be a bit of a thing. They have standard taxiways here from Victor into November and then from there into the apron. And then on the taxiway out you're gonna go via Yankee and Victor for the departure. But that's gonna be a problem for later on. Alright, so that's pretty much this part then. Let's go on. Let's go on with the rest of it. In the meantime, flight raw. How do you know the condition of the runway in real life? Is it included in the ATIS? Yes, it is. So in real life, the ATIS would say something like runway condition code at time 1739. Runway condition 6. Direct Flevo, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Hey, Flevo.
Wind on arm during 279er, passing flight level
Execute.
132 up to flight level 260.
Not available? Oh no. Alright, so let's start with the actual arrival then. In the FMC, we have 250 knots below level 100. The forecast page is filled in. We are not going through airspace Echo over here. As far as I know, it's all airspace Alpha and Bravo in the Netherlands. Then transition level 40 they said, and QNH 1014, that's in. Rings around runway 06, we're gonna make it 10 miles and 4 miles since the weather was alright. So 10 and 4. And for the routing itself, we already sent direct to Flevo, and thereafter it's gonna be 259, 18 miles to Pampas. So 259, 18.9 to Pampas. Sorry, 19 miles actually, so that makes sense. The left turn 216, 33 to Caco, and then 230, 15 to Dogmu. Between level 50 and level 60, and we have a 220 restriction in there as well. Transition for the approach is from Dogmu for the ILS approach, runway 06. Reset MCP alt. I'll quickly ask if they actually want us at 70. Batavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Do you require us at level 70 at Flevo? Okay, he's coordinating. Then from Dogmu, it's 334, 4 miles, Romeo Delta 201. We have that. Then 005, 3.8 to Helho. What a waypoint name. And from there on, 056 to Romeo Delta 250, and that's going to be the final approach point. 6.2 miles out, that matches with the FMC, and we have a 3-degree glide, going down to a minimum of 159, that is set left and right. Batavia 5 Kilo Juliet, expect level 70 at Flevo, and then we'll start our descent now to flight level 260. Alternate event. And let's give it a little bit higher of speed here. say 295 in the descent. That should hopefully bring us back on profile. Yeah, that's close up. We're gonna catch the rest up with the speed we need to gain. Okay. So, we just want to talk about the missed approach then. So, missed approach, straight at Romeo Delta 212, mandatory at 2,000 feet, then a right on 146, 5.3, Romeo Delta 213, maximum 210 knots, right again, 236, 6.9 at Caco, and then 230, 14.9 back towards Doffman, climbing to an altitude of 2,000 feet only, so rather low missed approach altitude. So, one more threat for the arrival here. If we do get a go-around above the missed approach altitude, then what we're going to do is simply to deselect the ILS frequencies, bring it back into LNAV, and use vertical speed to get down to the missed approach altitude, and once we're at the missed approach altitude, we'll configure the airplane. If we get a normal go-around, it's going to be TOGA go-around, flat 15 set go-around, first race landing gear with a positive rate, 400 feet, flap 5, and flaps 1, flaps up. We can clean it up completely, and once we are at 2,000 feet, engage the autopilot after takeoff checklist, and then decide on the further course of action. I'm only going to use reduced go-around thrust today, not full go-around thrust, so it's going to be a single TOGA thrust only. In terms of the fuel for a diversion, Eindhoven is our primary alternate. We need 2.1 tons. We are going to have 3.2 on the arrival, so we have around about 20 minutes of extra fuel on board. We are going to burn 700 kilos, which makes a landing weight of 60.7. Then 60.7, let's quickly run our calculation on that. So we have our performance fuel here, 60700, Rotterdam 06, 2.5, dry 340 at 7 is the most conservative wind, 15 degree, 1014, flips 30, auto, off, all none, auto, threaded. Would require us with maximum auto braking. What happens if we take the reversers? No, I don't like that. Then we'll have to do flap 40, because I don't want to use max auto. That looks better. And 2 minute cooling versus no credit gives us 36 minutes. Well, no, then we're going to use the reversers. So flaps 40, auto brake 3, and second detent reverse thrust. Runway is fairly short, so we are going to vacate the runway at the end via Victor 6 and then Victor, and as briefed earlier on, November somewhere to the main apron. Any questions on the approach briefing? No, very good. Then let's do the descent checklist. And in the meantime, angle bank 25. So, pressurization, land out 0, anti-ice, off, approach with fuel, discussed, fires and outbox are checked and set for a flap 40 landing. Descent checklist complete. I'm gonna put this back on. Flatterer, you have a question, then go ahead please. Alex van der Paas, live close to Pampus. Nice, so you are gonna see all those aircraft arriving into Schiphol as well, do you? Then Ronald, apart from the 737, do I fly other planes in real life? And are there planes you wish to fly? Well, at the moment I'm only flying the 737 in real life, but I would really love to fly an A330 or an A350 once. 787 would be interesting as well. 12575, Transavia 5, Kilo Juliet, ciao. What is speed? 1 to go. 125.
T1 to the Yankee, when ready, descend flight level 210, level by Sonnet.
7.5 left dash T10 Ryanair 31 to the Yankee.
Amsterdam, Guten Abend. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, descend level 260, inbound level.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, hello, descend to flight level 220.
Descend flight level 220, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet.
Dinner 2 Echo
Set.
Golf, descend flight
220
level
checked,
70.
and back into
When
Vino.
passing level 100, maintain 250 knots.
So this went rather quick, so just to tell you what just happened. We basically reached the point where we had just 1,000 feet to the target level, so I reduced the vertical speed to 1,000 feet a minute, and then of course also put the target speed here back so that the airplane doesn't add any thrust. And that basically leads to what you see right now, that we can dive back down in our profile, and now we are back on profile and back on speed. At the same time, we're also got a handoff from air traffic control, so everything went a little bit fast. So my apologies if that went too fast.
Dinner 2 Echo Golf, contacted on approach, 121,
Dinner 2 Echo Golf, contact approach 112. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Delta 2 Golf Yankee, descend to
Then,
flight
Adam,
level 60, direct to Hellhole.
You have one question. I'm new to Flight Simulator. Since you fly Boeing now, can you teach me how to descend the aircraft after my FMC hit the top of descent? I absolutely can, and I actually have a tutorial series on the 737 on my channel, so have a look at that, and in there I have a complete, very detailed tutorial where I'm covering the entire SOP that we are using. So that includes, of course, the descent as well. And once again, want to go vertical speeds. I'm pulling the speed back out so that we don't gain excess energy here. Alan, thank you so much for the donation. Thank you very much for the 10 euros, and my pleasure visiting Rotterdam. And Ian, we are in the 737-800 at the moment. Here you go. By the way, very nice cabin interior lighting that we see over here. That's from the Boeing Sky Interior. If we had an aircraft with the old lighting, that would actually be horrible. Okay, level 220. Just gonna let the speed drop for now and see what the controller's plan is. Because I don't want to add extra energy into the whole system, since we have already planned with a 290 knots descent. So we are already planned for a rather high energy descent, so I don't want to add any unnecessary energy. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, can we expect level 70 red flavor, or can we expect to maintain higher levels?
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, expect flight level 70 as flavor.
5 Kilo Juliet, roger, request further descent.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, descend to flight level 70.
Descent flight level 70, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Okay, set. 70 checked. Now comes the dive back down into the path. However, now, since we've actually went this slow, we've actually significantly reduced the drag of the airplane. And that meant that we have not lost as much energy as we would have lost if we maintained 295 knots in a descent. So now I actually expect that we are going to end up above the path when we have gained our airspeed back. So we'll probably need a little bit of speed brake. But I'm going to wait with the speed brake until we've actually reached the 295 knots, because then it's going to be more effective. And for passengers in general, it is not as nice to use the speed brake than to have it retracted. I'm just waiting to get back onto the speed, and when we are fast, the speed brakes are more effective, so then I'm going to use them to get back into the path. And here you can see the difference in the drag, by the way, at the lower speed. Now we are back on speed almost, and we are around 850 feet above our target descent path. But now I'll get the speed brake out.
Amsterdam right, good evening, 356 Echo with you, level 380.
Ryanair 526 Echo, hello,
And at higher speeds the speed brake is a lot more effective than at lower speeds, so we are flying right back into the path now. You can see how quickly the path is coming back in right now. And start stowing the speed brake already. And the rest of it will catch with the airspeed we still need to regain. But it's already went back into VNAV speed, VNAV path. And here we are, back on path, back on speed. And of course my simulator doesn't like the zoom. Anyway, fast mode back on. So can we zoom back out again? Yeah, very good. Okay. Flatterer, I have unfortunately not flown the MAX yet, no. And Frat 99, no news on the EFB at the moment, but I seriously hope that it's gonna happen soon. And Iron, how do I get the RMP and AMP to display? That is the company option, so that is selectable in the display options. I believe it's called Navigation Performance Scales. Then, Alessandro, that's a really hard question. What's my thoughts about flight crew falling asleep during work? Do you think there could be improvements in the industry to prevent this? Yes, I absolutely think there could be such improvements. But the overall topic is a really difficult one. Let's put it that way. I believe that the system they are using in the United States for flight crew time limitations is really good. In Europe, let's put it that way, 12 hours in a row can be really hard. So, yes, I think there should be more research into the... I think there should be more research and changes in the legislation about the flight duty limitations. However, that is a topic far outside of the reach I would have in my airline. Then, Young's Law, is that the same seat position as in real life, or do you sit higher? In real life, usually you sit a little bit higher, because you're supposed to see the top of the glare shield. So, the problem is... Yeah, the problem is that for some reason in the simulator I can't get my seating position entirely right. Should be a little bit higher, so that I just about see the auto brake disarm light. So the MCP would go until here, but I should be able to see the top of the MCP as well. Okay, 9 degrees, about to enter some clouds. Let's put the engine NPIs on. High. So yeah, that is a little bit strange. I don't quite know why I just can't get that seating position right, but yeah, well. PMDG insists that the model is correct according to the original drawings from Boeing, so I don't doubt that. But yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem entirely 100% right to me, but I mean, it does look right when you look at it. It's just that I... 121 is my 2, and Fabia 5 Kilo Juliet, see ya.
Hi. Taxi to only 36 left Bravo, Whiskey 5, and cross 36 center, KLM speed on the go. 60 left, contact left, 125, 750. 125, 750, over.
Good report, guten Abend. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, flight level 100, descending 70, immof level, information Papa.
Roger 5 Kilo Juliet, Papa correct, expected RF 06, descent level 4,
Vector Silence 06, descent flight level 40, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Set, 40 checked. And let's do the 10 checks, passing 97, descending 40. Fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on, the lights are coming on. Angle of bank 25, air condition and pressurization. We have 3.5 descending and set, fasten belts, on, recall, checked, 121.5 deselected. Haven't shown 10 minutes to landing. Can checks complete.
Signature Echo Golf, contact Rotterdam Road 109 at 225, bye bye. We're sure about 22,
Can pre-select that frequency as well.
Thank you, bye bye.
Matrix 498, how do you delete a star from the flight plan? Well, basically you can't delete it, but go to the FMC and choose a waypoint from behind the star and just put it in front of the star. So sort of do it like a direct. Let me show you. Let's say we didn't want to fly that Dragon arrival. If we wanted to skip Pampus, we could just insert, for example, Taco behind Flevo, and then we would just skip Pampus. If you imagine that Pampus would be your star, then that way you could skip it. We have tie on above 10. It's 10 degrees outside, engine anti-ice off. Daniel Z, is there any difference in vectoring between airplanes equipped with heading and with track up ND? No, not at all. Because the MCP will always be heading. The ND might show you track up or heading up, but the MCP is always going to be heading. And the autopilot mode is also always going to be heading select and not track select or something. Okay, it wants us to keep descending, so let's go 500 feet a minute. Matrix, yes, that's exactly how it works. An iron, could I do a video on when to service engines and hydraulics? That's a good idea. I'm gonna write that one down. Roy van der Haan, is that how to pronounce your name? Is it possible to explain how to divert and program that in the FMC? Yes, it is. I've already done a tutorial video on it. You can find that in the tutorial playlist on my channel. Henrik, is Ernaf supposed to be armed after activating approach mode? I've noticed in the PMDG Ernaf isn't armed for the go-around. That is a company option, so in my airline the older half of the fleet does not have that option, while the newer half has it. And I believe it is still on PMDG's plans to include that for a future update.
582, op Rotterdam, 122.975. 122.975, zeroing citation.
Then tackle. Very often the auto throttle automatically switches off just before takeoff. It happens after I select toga. I noticed it happened to you once on a video. Known issue. Yeah, there is a known issue with that. Marco, hi, nice to see you here. Dispatchers off. No return flight. Oh, we're gonna talk about that again, my friend. Oh, Schiphol Airport up there. Let's turn that light off. this is looking nice, isn't it?
Kilometer on the mic, identified. Club level 1.
So, Amsterdam up here. Can smell the wheat all the way up. No, sorry guys, just joking. I like my Dutch colleagues and my Dutch friends. Yeah, that's a nice view. Anyway, I'm playing too much.
Skipper approach, good evening. KLM 1021 with information Delta on board, requesting IFR clearance to Heathrow.
Alpha 7 Alpha Kilo, runway 26 left, skipper takeoff, wind 010 degrees. Skipper the gust to Jupiter, runway 29 Papa.
Alessandro, your destination airport is closed for weather. You fly to a planned alternate, but it gets close to an emergency. What do you do? Well, first of all, you're having a very shitty day. Second of all, see where your fuel can get you. I mean, if you're at your planned alternate and you're down to final reserve fuel, you don't have a lot of options left. So, if you can reach another airport, fine. If you cannot reach another airport, well, you aren't gonna land it in the fields. I mean, honestly, in the worst case, you might have to land on a taxiway if you don't have any fuel left, and if the runway is blocked from a preceding emergency. But the situation you described, where you've flown to your planned alternate and then that gets closed as well, you've used up your fuel. You only have the contingency and the final reserve left, so at that moment you become an emergency as well. So, yeah, there is not a lot that can be done in that situation. In the worst case, if it has a long straight taxiway, that would be my best idea. If they can't clear the runway, of course. Marco, the distance between the central alerts on the runway, 25 meters. Then, Ben, I know you're about to dial in for the approach, but since you are about to be hand flying, I was curious if you had any comments or notes for someone thinking about buying the Thrustmaster Boeing Yoke. Well, no, I don't. No, honestly, nothing would come to my mind right now. I mean, it works. It works well, so I'm not sure what else to say there, sorry. Merrick, any chance for videos from my real flying, or does my company restrict it? A single video and I would be fired.
Clear to hear.
Really,
departure, initial climb.
It's an absolute no-go. I can't post anything from work. No videos, no nothing.
Victor 3, KLM.
Then Renee, when do you use the flight mode on the starter switch? That is pretty much only in case of windmilling start of an engine in flight. So if you're flying faster than 300 knots indicated, then you can use the flight mode to start up the engine with a windmilling start. That was a bright light.
KLM 1021, ready for pushing start. Pushing start approved. QNH 1015, KLM 1021.
Echoes, left tip at takeoff, with 0130 feet, clear takeoff, 3 feet left, KLM 39 Echo.
So, one airplane coming over there. 2,000 below and climbing, but I guess he's probably going to go above us. After takeoff, aircraft usually has such a good climb performance. I'm not too worried. But let's keep an eye on him.
And it's 25 Charlie, negative radar contact, Quantum Charlie.
Then, yay rover. Quick question in real world, is it unusual to be getting 250 knots at 4,000? Honestly, really depends on the place you are. I wouldn't generally say that it is unusual. And Yen, why is it such a big deal for the company if someone shows a video about flying for them? They are just afraid that somebody at some point is going to show some nonsense. So, right, there's the other traffic. Yeah, they are just afraid that somebody... 122.975, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Rotterdam, good evening, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, flight level 40, inbound Krakow.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, Rotterdam approach, hello, information Quebec, continue present heading.
We'll check information Quebec, continue present heading, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Okay, heading select. Let's have a quick listen into that HOTAS.
That's correct, sir.
Kilometers, no significant clouds. Temperature 152.9 QNH 1014 hectopascal, no significant change. End of information, Quebec. This is Rotterdam information, Quebec main landing runway 06, transition level 40, wind 020 degrees 7 knots, variable between 340 and 060 degrees. Visibility 10 kilometers, no significant clouds. Temperature 152.9 QNH 1014 hectopascal, no significant change. End of information, Quebec.
Contact tower 118 decimal 2.
Okay.
Contact tower 118 decimal 2, you're in.
Delta 7 Mike Foxtrot, turn right heading 330.
But you know what, guys? Let's have a little bit of fun here.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, turn right heading 240, reduce speed 180.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, right heading 230, speed 180.
EC 652, reduce to final approach speed, number 3, contact tower 118 decimal 2.
We'll turn the flight directors off. Make it a bit more fun. At work, turning the flight directors off is a big no-no. We are not allowed to do that. But in simulator, we've got to use all the chances we have to practice the instrument scan and everything, right? So if I have the chance to do some raw data flying, then I certainly am going to do it.
Delta 7 Mike Foxtrot, turn right heading 040, speed 160 knots until 4 DME, cleared ILS approach, runway 06.
Right heading 040, 160 after 40.
So, Patron. By the way, some people have asked me in the past when we would be using flaps 2. Now,
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, turn right heading 270 and descend 2000 feet, QNH 1015.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, right heading 270, descend 2000 feet, QNH 1015. Set. Okay, 2000 checked, set altimeter 1015. So this would be exactly one of those situations where I would be using flaps 2. Because you can see the flap 1 speed, 186, is too fast, but the flap 5 speed would be far too slow. So, in this case, I can fly without the additional drag of flaps 5, but I can do my 180 knots. And that's basically the main usage of flaps 2 in the 737. Then let's do a frisk check. Frequencies 109.1, active nav 1, nav 2, rings Romeo 06, 10-4, addons, Romeo Delta Sierra, standby instruments, set, courses 056, approach checklist, altimeters and instruments, set cross-checked, approach rates, checked and set, approach checklist complete. And we have one to go. So not more than 1,000 feet a minute now.
Rotterdam approach, good evening, 128.
Did somebody just have a cat in the background there on the radio? I've had a story with a cat in real life 2 weeks ago. We heard a private jet checking in on the air traffic control frequency, terrain noted. We've heard a private jet checking in, and while he was checking in, you heard an alarm sounding, then you heard a very loud sound of a very unhappy cat, like a meow! And then you just heard a sound of something being thrown to the back. So make up your own mind what probably happened in that cockpit. I'm not gonna say anything more than this, but
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, turn right heading 030. Speed 160 knots until 4 DME, clear ILS approach, runway 06.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, right 030, cleared ILS 06, speed 160 knots until 4 DME. Can we make that 165 knots?
That's approved.
Roger. Okay, because then we don't have to take the landing gear down now.
Hello Delta Alpha Tango India Victor, pass message.
Hello, Delta India Victor again, outbound Mike of Rotterdam CTR, request IFA pickup 1,500 feet.
Roger, stand by short. Delta India Victor sets clock 2770.
2770, Delta India Victor.
Okay.
Descent 2,000 feet, QNH 1015.
The DME seems accurate to me.
And 2,000 QNH 1015, contact straight.
Delta India Victor identified. Climb to flight level 50, IFR flight plan is open.
Roger, climbing flight level 50, IFR start now, Delta India Victor.
Delta India Victor, correct.
That was a typical German reply. IFR starts now. Yeah, that's German phraseology. By the way, sorry for being a little bit focused on the approach right now. But if I've learned one thing on previous live streams, that is not to mess with anything when I'm hand flying the plane. Otherwise it is gonna end up somewhere where we don't want to go.
0 trans 128, turn right heading 310.
Flight slope alive.
Right heading 310,
Localizer alive. And let's take that as localizer capture. On the heading 056.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, you are 5 miles behind a medium Airbus on short final, contact tower 118.2.
118.2, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, see you later. Okay, 5 miles down to medium, but it's not a problem at all.
Contact approach 1212, Yoling flight level 1 by. By log 035, taxi Victor 1 runway 06.
And we have Glasgow capture.
035, taxi on the point.
2,000 feet as Mr. Approach altitude is set.
Pleasure, taxi to holding point 06 for helicopter 235.
Ferdinand Airlines, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, established ILS 06.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, got the approach number 1.
Come on, airplane, give me a little bit of thrust. Don't want to go too far below
right
top speed there. Right, 4 miles, gear down, flap 15. And the landing checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall, check, speed brake, arm, green light, landing gear, down, 3 green. Why did it enter toga mode? Flaps 30.
Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, runway 06, clear to land in 010 degrees 8 knots.
Runway 06, clear land, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Honestly, what did just trigger the toga mode? I'd had that on a previous live stream, but I'm just going to ignore it.
Helicopter 035, report attention.
Let's complete the landing checklist.
For southeast of the airport for helicopter 035.
Okay, helicopter 035,
That's
joint landing
the
from
Vera.
737, line up 08, runway 06
43,
behind.
so we're looking at 148, okay.
Pleasure, line up runway 06 for helicopter 035.
So,
035,
landing gear down
negative
3 green,
position.
auto brake 3 set, and holding at the flaps.
Helicopter 035.
Delta 7 Mike Fox was welcome to Rotterdam,
I'm
taxi
gonna
Alpha 1 by
continue.
November.
So did he clear us to land now or not? I'll have to check. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, can you confirm our landing clearance?
Confirm clear to land runway 06 in 010 degrees 8 knots.
Clear to land 06, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Thank you, Bill. Okay, now we're a little bit high on the approach. That's really the moment where I would push for a second pilot. Continue. Come on, that looked worse than it actually was. But I have 2 head shaking effects on top of each other. So, thrust was normal, 80%, 100 knots, 80 knots, manual brakes,
Helicopter 35, line up 08, runway 06.
auto brake disarm.
Helicopter 035.
So software update 10 added a new head shaking effect into the simulator. And I still have my FS realistic effect on top of it. So I effectively have 2 effects that are shaking my head at the moment when touching down. That's why it looks a little bit worse than it actually is. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. So confirm you have no stand at all?
What's the EC652? EC652, can you accept the Juliet apron? Okay, EC652, taxi Juliet apron via November. Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet, vanuit taxi November, we'll call you.
Taxi November, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. Okay, so we'll just
for now, we'll call you for now.
Roger. So that is pretty much what I expected would happen, that the airport is just running totally full.
Turkish 246, taxi on the point Victor 1, runway 06 by Yankee.
It's pretty dark in here. I'll actually turn the landing lights back on. By the way, we do that sometimes in real life as well, Ren, it's really
Helicopter
dark.
35, Romeo departure 06, clear for takeoff in 010.
Sometimes you just put the landing lights back on, because, well, that's what it is.
Helicopter 035.
If it's too dark, it's too dark, then you gotta do something to see something.
Trans 128, runway 0, correction, complete approach from departure.
I just really hope that this is not gonna end up like yesterday, that we're gonna stand again for so long. Cabanos, in the OPT you've planned flap 40. Yeah, that is absolutely right.
5 Kilo Juliet, taxi Delta 3 by November.
Delta 3 by November, Transavia 5 Kilo Juliet. I'll talk about that in a second, so just give me a second. Let's get the taxi right first. So Delta 3 is at the end of the apron, the first gate on the right hand side. Okay, let's do that. Let's go there. So regarding flap 30 and flap 40, you're absolutely right. I had planned a flap 40 landing, and you can see how tight it was with the end of the runway. The reason I ended up using flap 30 in the end is because that automatic activation of the go-around mode, which I have no idea why it happened, but it's the second time already that it happened on a live stream of mine. Remember that one into Geneva where we had the automatic go-around mode activating itself? So back then I had a lengthy discussion with the developer and we came to the conclusion that there are only two ways how toga mode could activate in the actual code. And back then we couldn't figure it out because there was no logical conclusion of what could have caused it. Now since it happened again, I'm going to show today's live stream once again to the developer, and I will ask him to check once again if there is anything he can see why that toga mode activated, because there was no reason for it. I did not press the button and no nothing. Anyway, with the activation of the toga mode, my landing flap selection got erased. And since the landing flap selection had been erased, I couldn't see anymore which flap setting I had planned. And since things became very, very busy at that moment, if I'm totally honest with you, I just reverted to flap 30. First of all, I couldn't remember anymore which flap setting I planned, because it would have been on the display. And second of all, flap 30 flies nicer than flap 40. So I just thought, well, don't mess with it. Just take the flap setting you have.
Yeah, he was taking November all the way back.
That's gotta be the guy asking over there. So, we are going all the way back and then the first to the right. Stand over here. That is good enough for me. Let's see if we can get GSX to work. Parking stand. Oh no. Why? Just why? Oh, I don't want to follow me. Oh, that's not where he's supposed to be. Oh boy, good job GSX. You know what? Revoke parking services, I'm gonna park myself. So, Delta 3, here it is.
Lufthansa 2 Papa Lima, hello, taxi on the point 6 to 1 runway 06.
Papa Lima, point 06, Victor 1.
Turkish 2 for 6, runway 06, clear for takeoff, in 010 degrees, 8 knots.
Right, nose gear is located just behind our seat, so we'll wait till the stop line is just behind us. And here we go, that should be around about it. We have 2 blue, 1 red, and the engines are dead.
Walker 1092, hello, taxi on the point 6 to 1 runway 06.
Cabin crew, all doors in manual and cross-check.
Tower helicopter 035 requesting southeast transition, flight level 15 or 1500.
Yeah, 1500 for the departure.
Engines 1 and 2 below 20%. That is the new SOP as well, by the way, that we've changed the call that previously just used to say 20%. We've changed that now to engines 1 and 2 below 20%. Because previously we've had another case where just one engine was below 20 and the other engine was not and the anti-collision light was turned off. Alright, so transit shutdown checklist. Electrical on the APU, fasten belts off, ProPeat auto, anti-ice off, voice recorder on, air conditioning packs auto, engine bleeds on, APU bleed off, external light set, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps up and right, park and brake set, start lever cutoff, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CBRCB in, and cockpit door unlocked. Shutdown checklist complete. Alright, so welcome to Rotterdam. And since some chaps were asking, this was the first sector, we're gonna do the second one as well. And we'll be returning to Nuremberg. So let me quickly find that route, and then we'll make a flight plan. And this time we're definitely gonna cruise a little bit lower, because that was an uneconomically short cruise that we've just had on this one. But we'll get to that in a moment. I'm gonna do a couple explanations while I'm feeding the FMC for the flight back. And let me just real quickly program my sim brief. All right. Marco, Nuremberg is noise abatement 1. Interesting. Michael, thank you very much for the kind words about my hand flying. Still getting to grips fully with the pitch power coupling of the Boeing. The Airbus makes it too easy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, basically you add power, the nose comes up. You remove power, the nose goes down. That's the very easy way. And for the pitch power, basically when you're flying with 5 degrees pitch, 60% N1, you can't do anything wrong in the 737. That is like the most optimal setting that you can possibly have. The plane is gonna fly, regardless what speed, what configuration, what weight, the plane is gonna fly. And that's the most important thing here, isn't it? So let's see, Transavia, 1 Tango India is gonna be our call sign back. That must look interesting on the controller screens, but no, not my problem. Anyway, let's see, flight plan filed and flight plan up. So, let me put the flight plan in for you as well already. And here it is on the comments, everyone. Davenstein, do I have any videos on configuring the Yoke? Yes, I've done a video on it, but if I kinda take it away from you, then I'm simply using an all standard configuration. So I haven't changed anything. And you've just gotta make very small inputs in the 737, that's just how the plane is. Of course, in real life it's a little bit easier since you have the force feedback, but nonetheless, you get where this is going. So, let's have a look at the flight plan together then already. So, this time I've got the correct registration as well. Will be the Transavia 1 Tango India going from Rotterdam back towards Nuremberg. This time we're planned at flight level 310. So that is gonna keep us quite a bit lower, and actually that's the planned optimum flight level according to the SimBrief dispatcher as well. Cost index 18, looking at 5.7 tons of fuel, and then what do we have down here? Weather in Nuremberg is still pretty much as forecast. Well, because it probably is the same forecast. Yeah, from 1700. It's the same forecast. Good, by the time we get there, showers of rain, towering cumulus, and then overnight fog is gonna come in, but that's not going to be of our concern. Alternate Leipzig is the very same. Fog comes in slightly earlier, but by that time we'll be on the ground for long. So overall, nothing to worry about over here. They have planned... No, they have not planned the transition. So let's just take 10 minutes of extra fuel just in case we get some holdings or anything. So 400 kilos on top. So make that 5.7, give me 6.2. That should be a good amount of fuel for us to take. So in that case, chocks are in. We can get ourselves a ground power card as well. And then we'll need a fueler, and we'll take 6.2 on that fuel. Now, first thing I'm gonna do, because the apron is so full, I'll just contact delivery and see if we actually have any slot on our flight. So delivery is 122175.
Mike, at Nuremberg, Unix to Alpha, runway 06. Finish climb 3000 feet, Conquer 0147.
Quick look into listening to the ATIS.
Between 340 and 060 degrees. Visibility 10 kilometers, no significant clouds. Temperature 152.9 QNH 1014 hectopascal, no significant change of information for that. This is Rotterdam information, Quebec main landing, runway 06, transition level 40, wind 020 degrees 7 knots, variable between...
Okay, Quebec, we know that.
Juliet, correct, and report ready for start. No.
Rotterdam delivery, guten Abend. Savia 1 Tango India information, Quebec, request clearance to Nuremberg.
Savia 1 Tango India, cleared Nuremberg, Phoenix to Alpha, runway 06, Phoenix at 3000 feet, Falcon 0166.
Transavia 1 Tango India is cleared to Nuremberg by the Linux to Alpha departure, climb 3000 feet, squawk 0166.
1 Tango India, correct, report ready for restart.
1 Tango India, Wilco, do we have any slot on our flight?
Negative.
Roger. Right, perfect. So, no slot, that is always good. And we are already cleared 3001. 6. Very good, and then I'll just leave the frequency again. Because I can't be bothered. In real life, once I've got the clearance, I would keep monitoring the frequency, but for flights and purposes, I don't really see the sense in it. So, you guys can start the refueling. In the meantime, let's start some FMC programming. So, Echo Hotel Romeo Delta, Echo Delta Delta November. And we're the Tra 1 Tango India. Departure 06, and we're on the Linux to Alpha. Arrival, probably ILS Zulu 28 once again. And then we have AirTAS 2 Tango with the DODAS 28 transition. Activate, probably I'll have to do some fixing back here. DODAS, yep. Alright. So, cost index is going to be 18. We'll have 2.8 tons of reserve fuel. That's quite a bit. 56 tons zero fuel weight, and this time we're at flight level 310 only. Cruise wind 255 at 15. And 3001 is the transition altitude. ISA deviation -4, giving us -52 degrees. LAT. For the descent then, yeah, within airspace echo again, so 220 below 100. Forecast 310, 200 and 100 once again. You guys know this by now, so grab yourself a beer and sit back, relax, enjoy while I am programming my FMS over here. So 244 at 36. That's the lovely life of a pilot flying for an airline that doesn't use ACARS. So, no uplinks in my FMC. 238 at 8, and we have 1012 at Nuremberg. Alright, then let's quickly go over our departure here. So, reset current aircraft. Take a dispatch. We are going from EHRD, runway 06, and 10 DME. Holdings right turn. Okay, so that DME is 110.4. That's got to be Rotterdam. Station. I believe it's Romeo Tango Mike, isn't it? That VOR. I just can't read it on the display there. Yeah, it is. Perfect. /10, and over there we'll enter the holding with a right-hand turn. Okay, that's pretty much this stuff complete. And the rest of it we can do later on. Only now, charts. Yes, please give me a new flight from SimBrief. Linux to Alpha. I'll take that. And I'll take some taxi charts as well. Perfect. Not a lot of nav setup to do there, to be honest, so we'll just keep it at what it is. Right, perfect. So that's pretty much this part here done. Yes, Hamster. Heard you over the comms and I was like, no way. Oh yeah, people do see me from time to time. That does happen. Alright, Alessandro, yes, I can talk to you about my typewriting experience, but I'll do that en route, okay? Because that's gonna take a little bit longer, so stay tuned. Once we're en route, I'll get you going on this. In the meantime, fueling is done. Did I ever shut down the APU? No, I didn't. Well, let's do it now for at least 5 minutes, so that we don't get the noise fines. In the meantime, I'll just take the cheat here on the weight, 56, and that's gonna be it. I don't want to block the parking position here for too long as well. Oh, no, that's the button I was searching for. I'm afraid probably going to be like 1,000 feet or so. We'll get the final value in a moment. Well, let's do departure briefing. Threats for the departure. Quite a tight apron over here, so we got to be sure that we don't accidentally clip our wingtips anywhere. Just recently there has been a 737 crashing a wing into a light pole once again, so we got to be careful that we are not going to do that. And there is somebody else standing inside us. Lovely. No comment on that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Apart from that, not a lot to say, so, we'll take a route check. Echo Hotel Romeo Delta, Echo Delta Delta November, Tango Romeo Alpha 1 Tango India, and we're flying via Linux, Zulu 739 Misco, direct Gaminghausen, direct Tesca, Zulu 719 Etolu, Zulu 723 Comib, Tango 193 Atis, and then we have the DODAS transition. Ground distance 374 versus the planned distance of what's that? Can't read my own flight plan here. Planned distance 348. It's a little bit longer because I put the lengthy transition in. UTC time 1842, altimeter 1015, reading 0 feet. The MFRA is going to be 1000, and the flight directors are on now with the standby instruments set. It's going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 28, flaps 5, noise abatement 2, and no special procedures. EO sits straight at 10 miles, Romeo Tango Mike, and join the holding. Now for the Pushback, there is none. So we can taxi straight out, right, left, to the full length, and we'll probably take some intersection figures if we have them. Now let's quickly talk about our standard instrument departure. We are going to find that one on the chart over here, 10-3 Delta, effective 12th of August 2021. If FMS navigation is used, pilots should engage FMS lateral guidance as early as possible. The Romeo Delta waypoints shall not be used in RT procedures, okay. Caution, uncontrolled VFR flights are permitted, okay. So if that is the case, we'll limit our airspeed to 220 knots. Like this. Okay, then, RNAV 1 required. Caution, expect close and obstacles up to 110 feet shortly after runway end. Unable to comply with crossing conditions, inform Rotterdam delivery. Climb as rapidly as practicable to at least 2,000 feet. Okay, in that case, let's change to noise abatement departure number 1. Because that's going to enable the most rapid possible climb. Then, SIDs are minimum noise routing, strict adherence is mandatory, of course. Perform turns at 25 degrees bank angle, of course. Instructions containing deviations from SIDs, for example, opposite turns after takeoff, maintaining specified heading or blah blah, may be added to takeoff or en route clearance, especially for propeller-driven aircraft. They meant the relative part of the SID only. Yeah, surprise. Climb 3,000 feet, that's what we have once, and that's what we'll have twice in a second. So 3,000 feet. Then let's talk about the routing. We'll come straight ahead to 500 feet. So we have straight ahead 500, 063 Romeo Delta 153. Then 023, 3 miles, waypoint 151. 044, 9 miles, waypoint 150. Right turn 071, 18 miles to Iflut. Then 123, 14 miles to Lunex. And from there we're going to resume our en route flights via Randy, Edupo, Napo, Depot, and Amoso. Recommended berth level 250. Yeah, we'll be at 310, so that's not going to be a problem. Any questions about the departure briefing? No, very good. Then I'll just deselect the ILS frequencies here. Let's do the transit before start checklist down to the line. No. That's the button I was looking for. And that one. Okay, so transit before start check. Skip-ins. 1, 2, 3 removed. Oxygen, test 100%. Yaw damper on. Fuel. So we require 5.8. We have 6.2 with 4 pumps on. Fast modes on. Window heat on. Air cannon press. Back auto bleeds on set. Pressurization mode selector. Auto instruments. Thrust checked. Auto brake. RTO. Speed brake. Down detent, park and brake set, step trim cutter switch is normal, radius radar and transponder set and standby, radar and aileron trims 3 and 0. Takeoff briefing discussed, holding at the PA. So let's say boarding is complete now. We're approaching the 25-minute turnaround, by the way. This is started after landing, so we have like another 5 minutes or so left, then we need to go to be on time. So, 56 tons zero fuel weight, giving us a takeoff weight of 62.3. Let's execute that. And then let's go ahead with our performance calculation. So, we're in Rotterdam, we'll take Victor 3, it's a dry runway. The most conservative wind, 350 at 6 knots, temperature 141015. Optimum max 5 auto off, takeoff weight, we said that is going to be 62,300. Oh, that was the wrong button. Here you go, 62,300. Calculate. Giving us a full 26k takeoff. Okay, if that's what they want, that's what they get. So, flaps 5, CG will take from here 4.5 units of trim. Set speeds 32, 34, 45. 32, 34, 45. Very good. Alright, MFRA 986. Here we go. Right, perfect, that's it. Then let's complete our checklist. PA complete. FMC and CDU are almost set. M1 IS box. Automatic reduced full 26k. Speeds 32, 34, 45 set. Stub trim 4.5 set. Performance weight balance. Sign send. Phones off. EFB. Airplane mode stowed. Flight windows cockpit door. Locked doors. Closed. Passengers seated. Before start checklist complete down to the line. Alright, that's pretty much it. Quite a lot of aircraft going to the holding point there, but let's see what delivery is going to say. We'll just go ahead and request our startup clearance. Then we'll see what's going to happen.
IFR clearance.
Take a hotel, India Papa, clear to Salmon. Sorry, stand by.
Transavia 1 Tango India request startup.
Transavia 1 Tango India Info Romeo QNH 105, send taxi contact tower 118.2.
Startup approved QNH 1015 and for taxi 118.2 Transavia 1 Tango India, check. Alright, that's in. And startup is approved.
Munich 9 for Alpha, continue taxi Alpha 1.
APU is online, fuel truck is gone.
Actually 409 for Alpha, Alpha 1 is occupied as well, now taxi Delta 2.
Oops.
Taxi Delta 2, 95.
Oh, truck's removed. Alright, let's go ahead and start the
5
engines.
Foxtrot runway 06, clear for takeoff in 020 degree 6 knots. Runway 06, clear for takeoff.
Before start checks below the line, air complex off, anti-collision
behind departing
on, parking brake set, transponder over, before start checklist complete. So 28 minutes until we are commencing our engine start. Yeah, taxi end has been more than 3 minutes, so we made a nice 25-minute turnaround here. I would say Ryanair approved. Let's start engine number 2.
Enter 608 Mike, continue straight ahead to Victor 1.
And 2.
Easy 652 after departure, turn left heading 360, climb 3000 feet.
Oil pressure. And 1.
Say again, heading 594.
Easy 652 after departure, turn left heading 360, climb 3000 feet. Yeah, easy 652, correct. Easy 652, runway 06, clear for takeoff at 020 degrees 6 knots.
Tower Charlie Echo Golf request.
First Papa Foxtrot, taxi Victor 2. Papa Foxtrot, taxi Victor 2.
Papa Fox Victor 2.
Start a cutout, monitor 2, starting 1.
And stage for the request, call sign.
This requires for the request.
And 2.
Munich 4, Charlie,
and 1.
X-ray, taxi Delta 2 via November.
Taxi gate Delta 2 via November, thank you. 19 Charlie X-ray.
Lufthansa 9 Juliet Victor, taxi Victor for now, hold short November.
Victor for now, short of November, 9 Juliet Victor.
Tower, fraction 5 Victor going to Victor 1 or Victor 2? Fraction 5, Victor Max, Victor 1. Gotcha, Victor 1. Papa Echo Tango, taxi Victor 2.
Taxi Victor 2, Papa Echo Tango.
Start a cutout, monitor 1. And engine number 1 is stable. Then you're clear to disconnect, clear signal on the left hand side, seal with a pin, and put an air vent. Light control check. Full up, full down, full left, full right, rudder, full left, full right. For taxi checklist, generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, profit on, ATRs off, air conditioning, pack auto bleeds on, isolation of auto, flaps, 5 required, 5 selected, and green light, step trim, 4.5 units set, start with RD, turn flight controls check, recall check, before taxi checks complete. Rotterdam Tower, put an addons, Transavia 1 Tango India, request taxi, Hegel Victor 3.
Transavia 1 Tango India, taxi on the point Victor 1, runway 06.
Taxi on point Victor 106, Transavia 1 Tango India.
Papa Foxtrot, line for weight, runway 06.
Right, so we'll go to Victor 1, that is, where's the chart again? On to the Yankee, and then to the full end.
608 Mike, line for weight, runway 06.
Okay, taxi routing is understood.
Easy 652, contact Schiphol approach, 1.2.
Brakes released, config. Clear on the left, clear on the right.
Papa Foxtrot, runway 06, clear for takeoff in 020 degrees 6 knots.
So that Lufthansa 330 seems to be waiting there.
Bravo Rotterdam Tower, 2 minutes from Romeo, Papa Hotel, Delta Mike.
Hotel Delta Mike, okay, go ahead.
Right is clear.
We would like to land at Rotterdam via Romeo visual.
Okay, Papa Delta Mike clear to enter via Romeo arrival and hold Foxtrot for now. I have a lot of traffic at the runway.
Roger, we'll enter hold
a lot of
Foxtrot,
traffic at the
Papa
runway.
Mike.
I don't like that. I've just seen a lot of traffic yesterday.
Lufthansa 1 Charlie, could see approach, expect late landing clearance in 020 degrees 6 knots.
Very well, for now let's continue as if nothing happened. Before takeoff, checklist down to the line. Config, check, flaps.
Lufthansa 9 Juliet Victor, taxi,
green light, spectrum,
yeah, I have no
4.5
stand available. Can you
units
take Juliet apron?
Takeoff briefing.
Okay,
Let's takeoff runway 06, flaps 5, noise abatement 1, we set. Takeoff speeds dry 132, 134, 145.
Mike, I'm
set.
06, clear for takeoff in 020 degrees 6 knots.
Anti-ice off, PAX auto bleeds on, and for
Fox,
the
contact Rotterdam approach 122.975, bye.
emergencies, we go straight at 10 miles from Rotterdam and enter the holding of the aircraft in 3,000 feet. That is going to keep us safe.
Approach 122.975, bye.
So that aircraft should hopefully turn left now. Yes, it does. Very good. And we'll have 2 aircraft in front of us. Okay, that's not too much of a hold. That's fine.
You're ring 5 X-ray, contact Schiphol approach 121.2.
121.2, full on, you're in 5 X-ray.
You can pre-select
Alpha
that.
Echo Golf behind, landing Lufthansa A220, line of away, runway 06 behind.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Any questions from the briefing? No? Okay. So, we got a question asked earlier on. Now we're going to ding the cabin. Now the purser is going to go from the back to the cabin all the way to the front, and is going to check that everybody's got the seatbelts correctly fastened, that the tray tables are up, that the window shades are open, and when the number 1 reaches the front, then they're going to dim the cabin lights. In other words, pretty much turn them off.
Charlie, runway 06, clear to land.
And then give us a signal by pressing a combination on the flight deck door access keypad, and that's going to sound a chime in the flight deck like deet deet, and then we know, okay, cabin secure, and then we are ready for departure, and would report this to the tower as well.
Avia 47 Papa, taxi on the point Victor 1, runway 06 via Yankee.
By Yankee Victor 106, 47.
Alright, so, man, I have never in my life seen Rotterdam this busy. I mean, this is full. 12 aircraft, plus a couple on our aprons, and then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, we're number 5, so looking at about 15 minutes. Well, we didn't take the extra fuel for nothing, did we?
Alpha Echo Golf, runway 06, clear for takeoff in 020 degrees 6 knots.
So, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of time here. Alessandro, are you still here? Because now would be the time to tell the story about the 737 type rating experience. But only if you're still watching, huh?
Behind the departing traffic line.
So let me know in the comments. If you're still here, we'll go for it. If not, we'll just wait a bit until you're back.
Transavia 1 Tango India, Victor 2.
Alright, still here, very good. So,
Transavia 1 Tango India, taxi Victor 2.
Transavia 1 Tango India, taxi Victor 2. Alright, so first to the right, that is good. That might save us a bit of time. Anyway, let's start with the story. Yeah, so 737 type rating. Basically, the type rating overall takes around about 2.5 months, maybe 3, depending on the waiting time for the base training. You start usually with not even type-specific stuff, but in my airline we started with some general stuff like general emergencies and emergency procedures. So we learned all the stuff relating flight deck access, hijack, bomb threats, evacuations, firefighting, and all that kind of stuff before we started with the actual technical stuff on the Boeing 737. Then things went on. Wait a moment, was that for me? Blocked. It wasn't, but I don't care.
7 Golf behind departing Challenger 60, line of weight runway 06 behind.
Alright, it wasn't for me.
Line of weight behind.
Then we're gonna wait here. So, yeah, when you're done with all the basic stuff, basically performance also just comes to my mind here, so you learn how to handle the Boeing OPT and stuff. And when you're done with all of that, then you go ahead and start with the technical stuff. The technical stuff in my airline basically was 2 weeks of self-study, where we had a lot of Contabia 5 Tango India behind the Challenger, line from 06 behind. Confirm that's the one departing now?
Yeah, it's the one departing now, indeed.
Roger, line him up now, Contabia 1 Tango India. Okay, so we'll continue as soon as we are airborne then. So, confirm the readback. Line up and wait runway 06. So, before takeoff, checklist down to the line, below the line. MCP, set, transponder, TARA, strobe lights, on, holding at the landing lights. Yeah, let's just get departed, then I'll continue with the story.
121.2, Papa Tango.
Contabia 1 Tango India, runway 06, clear for takeoff in 0206 knots.
Contabia 1 Tango India, runway 06, clear for takeoff. Okay.
Lufthansa 1 Charlie, someone locked on that, you can
then, timing. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust.
Section 5 and Victor, contact
set indications normal.
975, bye-bye.
Check.
Section 5, Victor, bye-bye. That's photo mic, speculate, landing 0206 knots. Speculate, landing 0206 knots.
Positive rate of climb.
You're up.
727 Golf behind landing, Lufthansa 820, line of weight, 906 behind.
Behind landing, Lufthansa 820, landing up, runway 06, and wait, starboard.
Command A. Don't know why I lost the vertical mode.
Photo mic, runway 06, clear to land.
Runway 06, clear to land, Lufthansa photo mic.
Transavia 1 Tango India, contact Schiphol approach, 121.2, bye-bye.
121.2, Transavia 1 Tango India, bye. Okay, flap 1. So let's see how good it levels off here. Not at all. Okay. What's up? Lovely overshoot. Couple approach to an orange and Xavier 1 Tango India, 3000 feet. Time for flight level 130 from Xavier 1 Tango India. Okay, autopilot, let's try that again. Command A. Check. 130. VNAV. State malfunction. Master caution air conditioning off scheduled descent. That's gonna vanish when we start the climb again, so I'll cancel that. Okay. And we cleared up higher, alt intervent. That's standard. Passing flight level 29, climbing 130. Takeoff
Contact
checklist.
125.75, get on okay.
Cabin is released, off schedule, descent is off again. Air conditioning and pressurization is 1.8, climbing and set. So, off. Altimeters, standard passing 400.130. The tail check's complete.
Hotel 4.
Alright, so airborne, so at least that stuff is done and we are on the way.
Destination Vienna, Arnhem to Hector departure with Pushback, left squawk 1000 km.
Fly J Avia, very good morning to Vegas. Man, nice. I want to be there now. So, let's see. When are we gonna arrive? 4 minutes past the hour.
12575 for Papa Tango.
And the event is running until 2030. Very good, so we'll arrive with ATC. That's what I wanted to know. I'll continue the type rating story as soon as we're with the next center, so that I don't miss the calls. And for those of you who just joined who are wondering why I'm flying 220 knots, that's because there was a warning on the chart that part of our profiles would be in airspace where VFR traffic is permitted. So 125.750 Transavia 1 Tango India, can I?
Climb flight level 250, Papa Tango. Radar 833, contact Bremen radar on 123, decimal 925. Maximum 556, Alpha, KLM 123, flight level 2 portion. Maximum 556, 1 Radar 723, direct to Arctic. Flight level 100 for heading, level by Arctic. Select to Arclet, descend to flight level 100. When ready, get down 173. Section 5564.
Very good speed. Radar, good evening, Transavia 1 Tango India, passing level 118, coming 130.
Transavia 1 Tango India, flying to flight level 250.
Transavia 1 Tango India, climb flight level 250. Set. With the search check. Right, let's do the 10 checks. The fuel is balanced with 4 pumps on. Let's get some lights on here as well. Right. Lights off, APU off, I can impress, 5.0 climbing set, fasten belts, auto, recall, checked 1 to 1.5, monitoring, 10 checks complete. Right, so let's continue with the type rating then. So as said, in the first week you're going to do all these operator-specific studies, at least in my airline, might be different in other airlines. And when you've done that, you usually enter around 2 weeks of self-study, where you're going to study with the help of computer-based training. And believe it or not, you can find a lot of these computer-based training videos on YouTube as well. So if you Google 737 CBT, Charlie Bravo Tango, then you are going to find quite a couple of them, even though in older versions, but nonetheless. And after those 2 weeks of self-study, you are going to write the technical exams on the Boeing 737. When you've passed those, usually you'll have like another couple of days where you are going to practice with an FMC trainer, which is just a very rudimentary software, just simulating the 737 FMC with a little bit of basic autopilot interaction and stuff like that, so that you can get an idea of how the FMC looks like. When that is done, then you'll get scheduled for the first sessions in the actual flight simulator. So that is where stuff gets interesting. Initially you're going to fly the fixed base trainer. So that is, for example, where the ProSim software for the A320 would come into play. So that ProSim software would be certified for those fixed base trainers. And the ProSim is actually used in the Fenix, for those who didn't know it. So that's pretty much the level that you're working on there. It is buggy, it is not perfect, but it gets you the idea. And in my airline we had, I believe, 12 sessions, each of them like 4 or 5 hours long. In the first of them we learned the standard SOPs for normal flights. So the first one is actually meant for only the flight deck setup from cold and dark to engine start and taxi to the runway. But then the session finishes on the runway, which I can tell you is pretty, well, let's put it that way. You think you finally made it all the way to the runway, you're ready to go. And then the instructor tells you, "Thank you very much, gentlemen, you may now get off your seats." Well, that's life. On the second session you're going to do the same thing again, but then you're actually going to do it including takeoff and climb. On the third session you start on the runway, takeoff, climb and descent preparation, descent. And on the fourth session you'll start in cruise, descent preparation, landing, taxi in, shutdown. And then with the fifth session, basically you start learning the non-normal procedures. So in the fifth you'll only get some easy failures, to call it that way. Like, for example, 134, das ist 075, Transavia 1 Tango India, bye. Flight radar, good evening, Transavia 5 Tango India, climbing flight level 250 in Mount Phoenix. Climb level 310, Transavia 1 Tango India. Set. 310 check, Nina. And we have 310 once, twice, and 3 times. Monitoring 121.5. Alright, so let's go on then. In the fifth session they start introducing minor failures, like window overheat and a little bit of stuff like that, so that you get accustomed to reading the quick reference handbook and how to handle non-normal situations. And then from the sixth session onward you start with the interesting stuff like rapid decompression, manual reversion, airspeed unreliable, and all this sort of stuff. Basically one session is dedicated to one major failure, and then each pilot, so for 2 hours you're the pilot flying, for the other 2 hours you're the pilot monitoring, and your colleague becomes the pilot flying, and everything is basically done twice so that you see it from both sides, both as PF and PM. Yeah, when those 12 hours in the fixed base simulator are over, that's when it gets really interesting, because then you're moving up to the full flight simulator. In the full flight simulator you're going to spend, I believe it was 6 days, but don't quote me on that number, might be a bit more as well. And in there, in the first session you're basically going to cover manual flight, because the manual flight in the fixed base trainer is alright, but not quite there. And then the first full flight simulator session is basically just dedicated to hand flying and getting the feeling for the airplane. And then on the second session you get failures and everything reintroduced. And the last session is basically just a preparation for the final exam. And then when those 6 days are done and you have performed well, you're going to go right into the 737 license skill test. When that is passed, then you are going to be rostered for a preliminary simulator circuit training session. In that session, you're basically just flying traffic patterns. If you've seen my recent video on how to do traffic patterns in the Boeing 737, that is basically exactly what you're going to do in that simulator circuit training preparation exercise. Because in that exercise, all they do is to prepare you to fly those circuits in the real airplane. And in fact, you are going to do as many circuits as you'll need until you've mastered that. Because they are not going to put you in a real airplane until they are 100% sure that you are proficient in what you are supposed to do in the real plane. Yeah, and when that is done, that is your simulator part covered, then first of all you send all the paperwork, want to go by the way, vertical speed, then you send all the paperwork to the authority to get the 737 type rating into your license. And once the new license has arrived by post, yes, by post, no modern stuff like emails or so. Once a new license has arrived, first of all you realize, hey, I've just paid $100,000 for this piece of paper.
Correct. Can you say again,
and then your airline is going to roster you for the base training. So they give you a real airplane there. You're going to fly to a place where there is not a lot happening, some remote airport. And then in there you're going to do traffic patterns. Usually we do this with 5 or 6 pilots at a time. So everyone's going to do like 6 circuits or more if needed. And then you go to the back, take a seat, and wait for the other guys to complete their circuits. So at the end of the day, you've sat in the airplane for maybe 10 hours just doing traffic patterns. Alright, cruise level. Back into VNAV, and we have on set. Alright, and with that, your type rating is complete. Then you are fully qualified to fly a Boeing 737.
Text is for lightweight.
Then, all MSH, at what point do you need to use vertical speed? Is it at 3,000 feet?
No kidding.
Yeah, if you have 3,000 feet to go, it's 3,000 feet per minute, 2,000 feet, 2,000, 1,000, 1,000. And Magoo, Jesus, I'm so used to the A320 now, I can't follow the flows and checklists at all here, way too fast. My apologies for that. I have done tutorials though, where I explain all of those flows in detail in a slow speed. So if you're interested in learning the 737 Magoo, then just go to my channel and the 737 tutorial playlist, and then there you're going to find it. And Ali MSH, say for example you climb to 30,000 feet, when do you start using vertical speed? Yeah, that depends on how fast you're climbing. So let's say your airplane is going to do 2,500 feet a minute. The limit is 3,000 feet per minute when you have 3,000 to go. So at level 270 you have to have a maximum of 3,000 feet a minute. Now your plane is doing 2,500, so no problem. Now, if you go further, when you have 2,000 feet to go, that's where you would reduce your rate of climb then, because you have to have a maximum of 2,000 feet a minute at that point. And then of course it goes on, maximum 1,000 feet a minute. And I've covered that rule in detail in the climb tutorial. So for more details, just have a look at the climb tutorial, and that's basically that. Philip, what is SUX? That is Sim Update 10. In the release notes, Asobo referred to it as SUX. That's why I've just taken it over. Sounds a bit nicer as well, doesn't it? So it's the Sim Update 10, the one that's just recently been released. Cabanos, why did I choose the 737 type rating instead of the A320 or other types? Well, I didn't have the choice. When I came out of flight school, I applied with pretty much any airline that was hiring here in Europe. And I ended up getting a job at an airline that flies the 737, so then it was clear that I would do 737 type rating. I didn't have a choice. When you're coming out of flight school, basically you don't have a choice at all. You just take the first decent job that you can get. In my opinion, the first job that is not paid to fly, but some even accept that. Metal Eye, nice to see you here again. And besides, 737 rocks. Yeah, it does. It's a nice plane.
Direct Delta Kilo Bravo, Kilo 14.
Transavia 1 Tango India, copy, direct airfield.
Direct airfield, Transavia 1 Tango India. Alright, where is it? Airfield. And looks good. Execute. LNAV available. LNAV.
Not on my end, but John.
Magoo, if I had a choice, which type rating would I have chosen? That is a good question. A320. Now, why is that? That's basically because the A320 is used by the vast majority of airlines here in Germany, so it would give me the best chances to get a job close to home, provided that the airline I applied for wouldn't be close to home anyway. But overall, the 737 is a very nice airplane, but it is a very cramped airplane as well. So you can't even stretch yourself. You're always going to bump your legs into the panel up here, especially your knees. So, especially on long flights, if you're going to the Canaries or something, 4.5 hours, eventually you just want to have some space to move. And even if you're going all the way to the back here, stand up a little bit, I can't even stand upright because I'm bumping my head into the ceiling. So the 737, well, there is a saying. They say Boeing built an absolute excellent airplane, and then they remembered they had to put pilots in it. And that is for a good reason. The plane flies really, really nice. It is an absolute joy to fly it. But I have to say, as a working place, it is not as much of a joy. As a working place, the 737 is, I don't know. In the A320, you just have more space. The plane is designed a little bit more around the pilot. And, of course, it's a flying computer, but, you know, if it is a flying computer that you can enjoy working in, then in the first year or two there, where I've been flying as an airline pilot, I really couldn't care any less, and the 737 was an utter joy to fly. It still is, but after around 4.5 years of flying the 737 now, I slowly start getting to the point where I'm thinking, well, it would be nice to have a little bit more comfort in here as well. Right, HOTAS, as far as I know, is at level 130. Let's see what that's doing to the top of descent. 77 miles. Good to go, still.
Radar, hello, for 2755, climbing, flight now, 230, eastbound to Warthog.
After 2755, line radar contact, flight level 340, final level for now.
Climbing 340 for 2755.
Lufthansa A Papa, inbound Gorko on 360.
Harley, do I ever get neck displacements? Well, I'll better not answer that. My AME shouldn't hear it. And JTFF mod, have I seen a preview of the 900 yet? If I had, I would not be allowed to tell it. Now, Alessandro, did I ever fail any type rating checks? No, never. Metal Eye, they should have cleaned the cockpit a bit on the Max series. Honestly, it would be very difficult to do it because they couldn't just make the cockpit bigger. You know, the size is given and the size is what the problem is. Stuff like the pedals and such, you know, that is all fine. It's really no leg room. You have that big thing in between your legs in here. You know, there really wouldn't be too much space to do anything. I mean, you'd certainly need a bigger airplane, like a 787 or so, or 777. They say those are really nice airplanes for the pilots to work in. Even the 757. Funnily enough, however, the 747 was just as small as the 737 is. So, I don't know, I'd still love to fly one. But it would be very interesting to see what it's like to actually fly the 747 and how much space there is or not.
On the 35 Charlie, Rhein, hello, squawk 1000, climb level 350.
In the meantime, can we get an HOTAS?
Rhein Radar, schönen guten Abend, Leipzig Air 664, passing flight level 230 to flight level 240. Climb to flight level 360, Leipzig Air 664.
Oh! Okay, we've got that part. So, moderate showers of rain, no cloud base available. That's interesting, because that usually means that the clouds go all the way to the surface. And that in moderate showers of rain, that could mean potentially bad visibility, even though they say 10 kilometers, but I wouldn't trust those 10 kilometers anymore. I would expect some bad visibility there. Especially if it says becoming no significant weather. Okay. So that's gonna make for an interesting arrival then. I hope they aren't in Cut 3 conditions, because otherwise, pretty sure Nuremberg can't take more arrivals than Rotterdam can take departures. So let's go through this real quick.
Please repeat for Leipzig 664.
Only 28 they said, so let's actually make it 923, 10, and I'll just put a 5-mile ring in just in case the visibility is worse than what is actually forecast. By the way, for those of you who've been wondering what the trend in the visibility actually meant there, if a trend is added to a META or to an ATIS, that means that this is what the weather is going to become like within 2 hours time. So at any point between now and in 2 hours, they'll have no significant weather. So 426 is our alternate here, and we'll add the semi-fixed behind that. Let's see what that's going to give us. 6,000 feet at that waypoint. Okay.
Ein Radar to the down, 75 Tango Yankee, 702 bound, über.
775 Yankee, Rhein, hello, squawk 2036.
And let's see, 1091277. Oh, same ILF frequency. Nice.
Austin 73, Rhein, radar contact, hello.
And then 277.
Austin 73, say again. Austin 73, can fly over 340.
Rolling 5 at X-ray, contact line at 123, 275.
123, 275, Eurowings 5 at X-ray.
And so 608 Mike, descend flight level 25, so.
Then let's find some arrival charts.
608 Mike.
Lufthansa 30, request descent.
Add it to Tango, we'll take the DOTAS to 8 transition as well. For the ILS Zulu approach runway 28 and some taxi chart and some dark chart.
Please contact Amsterdam on 124, decimal 875.
Minimum on this one, 1280, which is 234 above the ground.
5 Charlie, stroke 1 town. Alaska 250, contact this radar 134, decimal 6.
Okay, are you ready for the approach briefing? That's for the arrival. Yeah, possibly bad visibility on short final, but they aren't using low-vis procedures, so it can't be that bad yet. However, it's going to be interesting to see what the simulator is actually going to make out of it. Apart from that, another threat is that it's potentially very busy, plus that we're arriving at the end of a long event. So the controllers might be a little bit tired as well. So are we, to be totally honest. So, yeah, well, we'll just be careful, make sure that we execute any instructions rapidly, and if there is anything we don't understand, we'll just ask before we do something that we're unsure about. I would say that's basically it. So let's go ahead and have a look at the FMC then. So we have 220 knots below flight level 100 because the arrival... where is it? Here it is. Parts of IFR profiles within airspace class Echo. Watch out for VFR traffic unknown to ATC. So 220 below 100. Forecast page is 1013 now. Transition level 70 is correct. And the thick rings around the runway 28, 10 miles and 5 miles. For the arrival, AirTis to Tango arrival is from AirTis 159, 9.2 miles towards DOTAS, and from there we're going to join the DOTAS to 8 transition, 172 degrees, 10.7 Delta November 422, and that is maximum speed 240, and then we go on to the downwind here, that's 097 degrees. Waypoint 425 above flight level 80, then we have 426, maximum 220 knots. I turned that up with Osnup, came at 6,000 feet, so we're covered for a possible shortcut over here. Then we go straight at Delta November 429, right turn 187, 6 miles, waypoint 436, right again 277, 4 miles, 435, well 5,200 feet, same track, 434 in Osnup, and here we have center fix at Osnup, that's fine as well. We joined the ILS approach for runway 28, that is on chart 11-2 from the 14th January 2022. Frequency is 109.1, active nav 1, nav 2, and the final approach course is 277. Osnup at 4,000 feet we have, and the airport elevation is 1,046, so we take 1,050 in the land out. Going on. At Osnup, we have 4,000 feet. Going down 2.8 miles, we check 1930 to the minimum of 1,280, set left, set right. And for the missed approach, straight at 90 Nuremberg. So we have Nuremberg -9 on the runway track. Right and turn, join 133 inbound Nuremberg VOR, that's 131 in here, good enough for me. And climbing 6,000 feet, we have 6,000 feet in here. Not sure where the 5-0 restriction comes from. Oh yeah, here, cross 90 me, Nuremberg at or above 5,000. That's fine with me as well. Okay, for diversion, we've planned Leipzig as an alternate. We need 2.8 tons, we arrive at 3.6, including the whole transition. 800 kilos, 20 minutes extra fuel, and we are now burning 600 kilos, which is a landing weight of 59.6. Let's quickly request our descent.
Triple 3, confirm at Kovan, flight level 250.
Transavia 5 Tango India, request descent.
Transavia 1 Tango India, descent flight level 250.
Descent Flight 25, Transavia 5, Tango in, correction 1, Tango India.
Transavia 47.
Set, 250 checked. And we're overflying the top of descent any moment, so down we go.
Descent Flight 250, left at Kona 47.
Alright, let's do a little bit of mathematics then. Landing en route. We are going towards Nuremberg. Runway is 28, 2.5. Let's take good. And we have 130 at 3. Temperature 131013. And that's 59,600. 5 knots VRF addition. Calculate.
Station second.
Lufthansa 1026 requesting permission to leave cockpit.
So runway 28.
Yeah, but not for long.
Let's see, 1,000 meters. So with delta around about 1,800 meters, or echo at 2,000 and a bit. Let's see, 2,260 in here.
Transavia 7 Alpha Golf, Rhein, radar contact, campfire with C1 group. Campfire with C1 there, Transavia 7 Alpha Golf.
1,900 meters if I factor this one out, so this looks about fine to me. Let's see if the reversers would make a difference, or if they would make a major difference. Not really, okay. And we'll take no reverse credit. Perhaps 30, auto brakes 3, gonna give us out at Delta, and then most likely via either Juliet or Foxtrot somewhere into here, the main apron. Do you have any questions about the briefing?
Transavia 1, Tango India, contact Langen, 123, 275, chart.
123, 275, Transavia, 1 Tango India, chart.
Transavia 250, proceed direct Kona. 250, district.
Long good evening, Transavia, 1 Tango India, descending flight level 250, passing level 282, inbound AirTAS.
Transavia 1 Tango India, Langen, Hannover, der Contact, level 130,
Transavia 1 Tango India, descent direct level 130 at AirTAS. Set, 130 checked, and we already have that in at AirTAS. Low bank 25, and let's go ahead with the descent checklist. Pressurization, land out 1050, RMS off, approach fuel discussed, IS outbox, checked and set for about 30 landing. Descent checklist complete. KS Hamster, really nice to be flying on the same route as you at the same time. Made a big mistake for taxiing and regretting it. Did you turn onto the wrong side on Victor there? Globix, nice to hear you on Langen as well. My goo, that's nice. I love how you speak with just a very slight German accent, but when you're speaking normally, but when transmitting it's full-blown German ATC pronunciation. Oh yes it is, but that's because in pilot training we actually focus on doing that. However, when I'm flying to the UK I'm speaking British English on the radio, so believe it or not I can actually talk British English if I want to. And overall I kinda adapt a little bit to the country that I'm flying in. Now in Germany that obviously means using German pronunciation and such, because it is just easier to talk with air traffic controllers like that. But of course same goes for the UK, and the only places where I refuse doing that really is Southern Europe, because I really can't be bothered talking Roma Raja. Ah, KS Hamster. Didn't know that you had to taxi in Yankee because when I fly V, thought I always just taxi like Victor. Yeah, that's why looking at the chart really is a good idea from time to time, but I have to admit last time I've been in Rotterdam, even though it's been a while, I did the same mistake and went into a wrong taxiway. Miku, what do you mean my English doesn't sound that good? Come on. No, to be honest, you said it didn't sound too bad. That's not the same as it didn't sound good. But yeah, it's been a while since I lived in the UK, so my British accent could probably need a little bit of work. Even more so because I spent a little bit of time in Scotland after being in the UK, so you don't want me to start with a Scottish accent though. Even though I probably couldn't, even if I wanted to. And Care Center, Papa Hotel, Jet. That's a Honda Jet, isn't it? I think I've seen that registration somewhere already. And Magoo, here's one of the most important questions. Are you the type of mumbling PA announcement pilot? Can people actually understand your announcement in the cabin? If I'm totally honest, many cabin crews are actually telling me that I am one of those guys doing the best pronunciations in my base. You know what? Let's quickly talk to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Burger Team Main from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We have started our descent towards Nuremberg and the remaining flight time is approximately 20 minutes. Weather in Nuremberg at the moment, a couple of rain showers, and it is clearing up. So, temperatures around 13 degrees centigrade. We would like to thank you very much for choosing Transavia for today's flight. Hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to welcoming you again on board a future flight. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope to see you again soon. And since I'm German, you don't want me to try a Dutch accent for a PA. The Dutch can kind of speak German, but if I try to speak Dutch, you don't want to hear that. Then Alessandro, how different are cargo operations from passenger operations? Well, I could give you better information if I had actually flown freighters, but in the flight deck it's not too different. However, there are some special procedures for freighters, such as the emergency descent procedure. Transavia 1 to India, speed 280 not so great. Let's give it 285 if it wants us to fly to 80 or greater. Mobile... Oh, okay. Well, Transavia 1 Tango India, say again. Transavia 1 Tango India, contact München, 1 to 9 5 to 5, please. 1 to 9 5 to 5, Transavia 1 Tango India, cheers. So, 1 to 9 5 to 5.
Ryanair 9 Mike Kilo, proceed direct Laska, Lima Alpha Sierra Golf Alpha. Direct Laska, Ryanair 9 Mike Kilo.
München, good evening, Transavia 1 Tango India, speed 280 or greater, descending, flight level 130 inbound HOTAS, information Foxtrot.
Transavia 1 Tango India, mid radar, good evening, identified, now information 12, no significant change. Cleared DODAS to 8 transition. Proceed direct Delta November 422.
Transavia 1 Tango India, cleared DODAS to 8 transition, will check information both and proceed direct Delta November 422.
Transavia 1 Tango India, descent flight level 100.
Descent flight level 100, Transavia 1 Tango India. Set, run a check.
And 608 Mike, descent flight level 80.
Descent flight level 80 and 60 Mike.
Alright.
Departure, Ryanair 659.
Why is my zoom stuck? That's better.
Ryanair 659 with radar, good evening, identified time flight level 70, traffic above.
Flight level 70, traffic above ground.
Ryanair 9 Mike Kilo, contact München, radar 133,
Lucas, have I ever flown to
575,
Preveza?
bye-bye.
No, not yet.
123,
Unfortunately.
575,
We're
bye-bye,
still,
Ryanair
we're
9
still
Mike
missing a couple of Greek destinations, but not too many. Then the Hitman. When is the EFB going to come to the 737-800? They said mid-September they would show a preview. Actually, they didn't say that. They say that they said that mid-September they aimed to give it to the beta testers. Now I'm under NDA, so if they did, I couldn't confirm it. So I can neither confirm nor deny it. I can tell you that there is nothing over here.
Proceed direct DODAS, cleared DODAS.
But they said that they expected it to be a short beta and to go to the testers mid-September. So that is the information we have publicly available at the moment. But I don't recall they said that they're actually going to do a preview mid-September. Then again, I might have missed something there as well, so no 100% guarantee on that.
659er, proceed direct Laska.
Proceed direct Laska,
René Daddy, the current controller at Nuremberg you're talking to is my
Ryanair
favorite controller at VATSIM.
About 6 miles.
Alessandro, EAT or DHL is hiring FOs for the A300 and 757. I bet this is not a bad offer, right? It actually is not a bad offer. In the first year they don't pay too well, but in the second and no, I believe from the third year onwards they are paying pretty well. The job is rather relaxed.
No further speed restriction.
Transavia 1 Tango India, resume normal speed. Okay, and back to Econ.
Transavia 47 Papa, no further speed restriction.
Speed restrictions for the Papa thing.
Track required. Oh, I disagree. Alright, so, see what's going on. And EAT is actually quite a good employer, so I'm only hearing good stories about them. However, I have not applied there because you basically only work at night, and I'm not the type to work exclusively at night. I can very well imagine flying long haul, so doing every second flight or so at night, but not like 5 days a week, because then your complete biorhythm just becomes a total night rhythm, and I don't think that that would be something for me. Like long haul flying is fine, but
Evelyn 3 Golf Hotel mit radar, good evening, identified climb flight level 70.
Then Viper O, how do I feel about the Fenix A320 landing behavior? For me it's way harder to land than PMDG or fly-by-wire. To be honest, I can't give my opinion on the Phoenix flight model here.
Descent flight level 80.
Transavia 1 Tango India, descent flight level 80. Let's put it that way, if I were to give my opinion on the Phoenix flight model here, then a lot of people would start whining that, oh, that PMDG guy is bashing the competition. So I'm just going to shut up on that one.
My contact number director 119 at this.
But in yesterday's live stream you've basically seen my opinion on the landing. And Daniel, what is an average salary for a commercial pilot? Well, that seriously depends on the country where you are. I tend to say here in Germany, as a first officer, an entry-level salary growth of around 5,000 or so is what you can expect in most airlines. And then in the majority of airlines it's going up like maybe 500 euros every 2 or 3 years or so, depending on the airline of course. So then as a captain you are going to have an entry-level salary in the region of around 9,000 to 10,000 euros per month gross. That's what you can expect in Germany. Of course some airlines are paying better, some airlines are paying worse. For example, in Lufthansa mainline you're going to get a lot more, while in Ryanair you are not necessarily getting more.
Evelyn 3 Golf Hotel, proceed direct.
Even though, I have to say that Ryanair does actually not pay all that bad, because they do pay a little bit more initially than what you could expect at some other airlines as an entry-level salary, but only for the first year or so. So for the first year, Ryanair actually doesn't pay too bad, but thereafter it's rapidly going down, or let's say thereafter it's not going up, while in other airlines the salary is going up. Noble 6 Aviation, no worries, you don't need to be sorry for repeating yourself, because I was actually about to answer when the controller interrupted last time. So, I'm guessing the purpose of you choosing more brakes and idle reversers to make less noise when landing at the airport, right? Basically, yes, right. However,
Berlin 3 Golf for takeoff, level 190.
Be aware of how the auto brake works. If you choose a certain auto brake setting, that is always going to give you the same deceleration rate as regardless whether you're using reverse or not. At least for as long as you can actually reach that deceleration rate. Say again?
Expect increase your rate of descent to reach flight level 80.
Transavia 1 Tango India, expediting descent to flight level 80. Okay, speed brake comes out, because that is actually all we can do. Below level 100, with VFR traffic expected, 220 is the maximum they're going to fly. So, speed brake, and that's it.
DODAS to 8 transition.
Even though I wouldn't know why I should
proceeds direct DODAS.
Don't see any sense in it. Because now, we're just going to get a level segment over here, before Delta November 425.
Transavia 47 Papa, descent flight level 90. Lufthansa 250, descent flight level 100.
Alright, so I got interrupted again. Sorry for that, Noble 6 Aviation. So, basically, auto brake 3 is always going to give you the same landing distance. Auto brake
India, contact number director 119.475, call sign only.
119.475, sorry, Transavia 119.475. Call sign only, hello, Transavia 1 Tango India.
Transavia 1 Tango India, good evening. Descent altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1013.
Descent 5,000 feet, QNH 1013, Transavia 1 Tango India. Set, 5,000 checked. I honestly hate it when they say on VATSIM contact director call sign only. That call sign only part is written on all the charts, it's written on the AIP, it's written everywhere. You don't need to say it. And whenever they do it, when I just call the next station with call sign only, hello, I just treat it as that call sign. One of those things I do. And for Yoken, yes, you bet I am excited for the next updates. Especially the EFB, but also some of the others that are still coming. And Alessandro, what's the most recurring emergency in real life? Passengers getting sick. Medical emergencies with the passengers. Happens so often. The aircraft themselves are so reliable, you know. The majority of pilots are not even going to experience an engine failure in their entire career. And that is the most trained failure we have. So, we missed the 10 checks, did we? Cabin crew, 8 minutes to landing, 8 minutes. Full balance, 4 pumps, lights are going on. We've got bank 25, air compressed T0, descending set, fast modes on, recall checked, 1 to 1.5, deselected, 10 checks complete. Let's do a frisk as well then. Frequencies 109.1, active nav 1, nav 2, rings runway 28, 10.5. Islands, ILS Nuremberg West, standby instruments, let's take that active and courses 277. Descend, approach checklist. Ultimate instruments, set cross check, projects, check set, projects complete. I guess we're gonna get the vector to final very soon, but let's see what's gonna happen.
So 6 is the rate, Mike. You missed the localizer. Descent altitude 3,000 feet. Turn right heading 31 to descent.
3,000 feet, 310, descent, and we're 60 at
608, Mike. If you need to clear visual approach runway 28 and contact tower 1183.
Yeah, we'll go Victor 118.
If you need cleared visual approach, go to tower, don't bother me. Lovely. Typical Watson. Time to go. Very good speed. Come on, we can turn it face.
Plus area 1 Tango India, turn descent altitude 4,000 feet, turn right heading 256.
Transavia 1 Tango India, descent 4,000 feet, turn right heading 250. Alright, let's extend the center line.
Area 1 Tango India, clear ILS approach runway 280.
Transavia 1 Tango India, cleared ILS, Zulu runway 28. Alessandro, how mad would the captain be if someone tried to smoke in the toilet? Well, to be totally honest, I've had that happen several times. We're not getting mad. We're just working with procedure, because it happens. There is no sense getting mad at those people. But, of course we're gonna call the police for them, and they'll get the full force of justice for endangering the safety of flight. But that's got nothing to do with being mad. It's just, you know, those people aren't behaving. That's one. It's just, oh shit, it happened again. Okay, call the police. But that's really it. And he backed up me a little bit inside. Let's help him a bit. Right, he's left.
Transavia 47 Papa, descent altitude 4,000
Or maybe another 5.
Right heading 250, clear ILS approach at runway 28. Select 4,000 feet.
So, the ILS is identified, approach not armed. That's 5. Localizer alive, localizer captured, laptop capture. Oh, what was it again? Laptop is 60. 60 set.
Evening. Continue descent altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 131.
Converting 277. Established. By the way, did you see that box over here? Bug.
Radio 100 India, contact tower 118, train cabinet.
Combinated with speed from Transavia 1 Tango India, guten Abend. Comeback tower, guten Abend, Transavia 1 Tango India, ILS Zulu 28.
Transavia 1 Tango India, Comeback tower, evening, what departure?
Okay, we can see the runway, so it looks like the showers have moved through. I'm gonna make it a 4-mile ring then.
Transavia 8126, wind 120 degrees, Transavia 286,
Device escape takeoff, Transavia 8126.
And so 6289, contact number ground 108.
Left turn. That should help us reducing speed a little bit. Let's see if it's gonna go into a togam mode once again. Would be interesting if it did.
Then back tower.
I think it only did by hand
Kilo holding point Bravo, ready for departure.
Anyway, we'll find out.
Viewing Dynamic Kilo, Nürnberg Tower 50 even.
Right, gear down for 15. Brake armed. And checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall checked, speed brake armed, green light, landing get out, green. Auto brake preset.
1000.
Flaps 30. This time it definitely is 30 for the landing. 0 plus 5, wind is calm. Complete the checklist. Flaps 30, 30, green
Transavia
light.
1 Tango India, wind 120 degrees, Transavia expected.
Coming to exit and Transavia 1 to India. Landing lights on, landing check is complete. Proceeded, stage left.
Viewing Dynamic Kilo, Yankee 6, landing exit, Silent Base, runway.
Doing Dynamic Kilo behind next landing traffic, runway 28, line up and wait again.
500 continue. So everything is absolutely smooth. I wonder what those people are complaining about when they say the new turbulence model would totally mess them over. Because, yeah, there just is none.
Approaching minimums.
At least here. Now.
Minimums.
Continue.
Transavia 420 Papa, Nürnberg Tower 50.
Get back up. That's first normal. And we have 1 knots.
Transavia 8126, 1 is the departure.
And new brakes. 60 knots.
Also, 8126 contact 195. Sorry.
Okay, confirm the frequency please.
Why is the plane stopping?
129.529.
Come on, don't stop on the runway. Get going. Looks like I didn't kick the brakes strong enough to disengage the auto brakes. Accidentally stopped on the runway. Of course, that should not have happened. Never stop on the runway after landing.
Your wings 9 Kilo, wind 130 degrees, Transavia 26.
Wings 9 Kilo, clear for
But the arrival is far enough out, no problem at all.
And 129.5 to 5 departure.
After takeoff, 129.5 to 5 Shintok.
Transavia 1 Tango India, runway vacated. Let's keep the landing lights on. I want to see
Transavia 1
something.
Tango India, contact your ground 108 is 1 shutdown.
108 is no 1, Transavia 1 Tango India, ciao. And hello, Transavia 1 Tango India, runway vacated.
Transavia 1 Tango India,
Hit 1 by a Foxtrot Mike 2, Transavia 1 Tango India, good night. Alright, so Foxtrot and Mike 2. So that's pretty much straight ahead, right turn out, and then onto the gate. Somewhere to the left of the Rhine over there. Over Dizzy, hope I pronounced that right. Did I choose to fly the 737 in real life, or did the company assign it? The company assigned it. I really had no choice. So Mike 3 is ahead. And then Mike 2 is next to the right. Very good. So yeah, the airline assigned it. I had no choice there, which aircraft to select. But that's fine. At least for the beginning, 737 is a very nice airplane to learn on. Even though Boeing actually says something different. Boeing actually says, if you have a cadet pilot, put him on a 747, a 777 or whatever. But the 737 would be too unforgiving. But at least till now, my airline hasn't had any major crash that would have been caused by pilot error. So looks like we are doing something right here. Okay, Mike 2 is to the right. Clear left, clear right. Always find this apron a little bit confusing here in Nürnberg. Start APU. So Mike 2 is to the left then, and gate 11 is straight ahead. Yeah, here it is.
Follow the open ahead by Mike 2 and Alpha.
Grand, good evening, Trizavia 47 Papa, vacated to 28 at Delta.
So here's our whole short line. Nose wheel slightly behind us, so we'll just stop right in front of it. So
right, Delta Foxtrot Mach 2 to gate 09 and 47 Papa,
like this. Okay, brake is set. That's what I call timing. 2 blue, 1 red. And last sector of the day is done. Cabin crew, all doors to manual and cross-check. And engines 1 and 2 below 20%. And the full shutdown checks. Fuel pumps 1 on, electrical, APU, fasten belts off, window heat off, probe heat auto, NEIs off, elec hydraulic pumps off, voice recorder auto, air compacts off, engine bleeds on, upper bleed off, exterior lights, steady logo wheel well, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down and 10, flaps up and light, parking brake set, start lever cut off, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CVSB in, and cockpit door about to be unlocked. That's the checklist complete. Come on, get me rid of that. Right, so thank you very much everyone, and welcome again to Nürnberg. Now, if I got interrupted during the answer of any of your questions and you want anything clarified or so, just let me know in the comments, okay? I'll take a little bit of time right now to actually go over those questions again, see what I missed. And in the meantime, we'll let our passengers deboard, of course. So, my friend, you can start the deboarding. Whoa. Okay, I like this better. I like this much better. So, Tom, do I use Volanta? No, I don't. I use SimToolkit Pro. Alessandro, did I ever have to disembark some cargo in order to get below max takeoff weight? No, never. But I have had a situation where we had been performance limited and one passenger showed up last minute who didn't actually check in, so we didn't have him on the zero fuel weight. And then we had a little bit of extra fuel loaded because we wanted to take a bit of extra for the weather at destination, but then we had to burn like 100 kilograms off on the apron. But we rather burned those 100 kilos off because they just make 2 minutes flight time than than having to unload some cargo or something. But that was the only similar situation that I've had in which we actually had to do something with our loads because of performance reasons. Then, Philip, why does my airline not approve you to say about them or recording videos from the cockpit? Well, that is actually because they are afraid of people bullshitting. And it has happened in the past. There have been a couple of cases where some pilots of my airline, as well as pilots of other airlines, did stupid things in the cockpit, filmed themselves and uploaded it to social media. And then it always took only a night or two until those videos were posted by pretty much all boulevard media there is. So they made it to the front pages of the newspapers, for example, with bullshitting. For example, in EasyJet, there's been a case where what did they do again? I believe they just edited some stupid memes into pictures from the flight deck in flight and posted those online. And those memes appeared on the front page of the British newspaper The Sun the next morning. Similarly, there has been a case in Ryanair where they pushed the thrust levers of the airplane forward with, what was it? With some sort of a toy. Some children's toy. And even though, if you looked closely, the plane was on the ground and cold and dark, of course, the media titled that they would have done that in flight with passengers on board and blah blah. And that can really bring airlines into problems if people are doing bullshit like this. Because the general public is not aware of what can and cannot be done in a cockpit. The moment they see something that looks suspicious to them, they are not gonna fly on that airline again. And no airline wants that to happen. And some are stricter, others are not so much. For example, there are some pilots from TUI Fly Belgium who are even encouraged to take cameras along and film their flights from the cockpits. And there is one guy running a really good YouTube channel. What's his name again? Is it Max Pilot or something like that? And he's flying the 737 MAX in TUI. And TUI actually supports him with that. But other airlines take a different approach. So, every airline decided on their own social media philosophy there. And my airline unfortunately decided that they are too afraid of somebody bullshitting, even though it might just be 1 out of 100, but they are too afraid of it happening, and therefore they just don't allow us to use social media that way. Indeed, there has just recently been a memo to all pilots which said that, guys, we cannot totally forbid you to use social media, but be very careful in what you are going to post and how you portray the company. And they ended that very letter because overall it didn't sound too bad, right? It just sounded like, yeah, guys, just be careful, then you can do whatever you want. So far, so good. And then they ended the letter saying, if we do find any postings saying, putting the company in a bad light, then you are fired straight away. So, you know, that's basically what you have to live with. So, since I most certainly don't want to lose my job that quick, I'm taking the careful way here, and I apologize to you guys because I know that you are interested, but unfortunately that's the way it is in my airline, and that's what we have to live with. And MG King, did those pilots... You posted that when I talked about the EasyJet guys. Did they lose the job? No, they didn't. But EasyJet supports the pilots with that. They just say, yeah, guys, we know you didn't sacrifice any safety, but don't do it again, okay? While other airlines might as well just fire you. And yeah, Hive Wasp, that's exactly it. Do what you want, just remember we'll fire you if you don't like it. Or if we don't like it, yeah. Then, Furioken, am I allowed to use PMDG's global flight ops? I am enrolled on that beta, yes. But I'm not allowed to talk about it. Non-disclosure agreement, sorry. Yeah, Generic Pilot 1, quote, the airline my dad flies for says that social media will make their pilots look unprofessional or childish, quote end. Yeah. You know, the thing is, if you have 100 pilots posting something on social media, then 1 out of those 100 is going to do something unprofessional or childish. Most likely something childish and not something unprofessional, but still. You know, if that one guy then ends up on the front page of the newspapers the next day, then that is a very bad thing for the airline's image. And that is exactly what they want to avoid. 99 out of 100 people are not going to do anything stupid with it, but are going to do good stuff. But that one guy is then ruining it for the others. That's unfortunately how it is. Then, Noble 6 Aviation. Are the taxi lights on the 737 that dim in real life, or is it a sim thing? Depends on which ones you look at. If you look at the original lights, then yes, they are that dim. If you look at the LED lights, no, they should be much brighter. The problem is, if the brightness of the LED lights was simulated correctly, and I would turn them on in a situation like this, standing in front of a terminal. Let me just put them on over here now. You know, even with the landing lights, you see almost nothing. If they were simulated at a brightness where they would illuminate everything that would be illuminated in real life by those lights, then the whole terminal in front would just become one big white spot. So that's why the LED lights are more dim in the simulator than they are in real life. But for the original light option, I would say the brightness pretty much fits exactly what they are in real life. Right then, time to shut the airplane down. Passengers are out, I can see. APU is out already. Off, off, off. And we'll just wait for the align lights to go off. If you shut the power down while the IRS align lights are still on, then the next crew is going to face some nasty surprise when they start their pushback. So if you know that somebody you really don't like is going to take over, then shut it down while the align light is on. Because what's going to happen is, when the next crew takes over, powers the airplane up and aligns the IRS, everything is going to work as normal. But the moment they start the pushback, the IRS is going to drop out, and they will need to perform a complete realignment on the taxiway after engine start, once the pushback is complete. So if you want to annoy someone, do that. Alright, that's it. So everyone, welcome to Nuremberg. I hope that you've enjoyed today. And if you did, do leave me a comment below. And overall, if you do enjoy what I'm doing here, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I know that still 50% of my viewers have not subscribed to the channel yet. Finally, if you really want to support it, there is a donation link from Buy Me a Coffee in the video description below. There is also a Patreon link if you want to consider a permanent support of the channel. But for now, thank you very much for joining. Wish you all a nice evening, and I'm really looking forward to see you all again on the next one. Till then, good night, and see you around.